brought up the guy.
What kind of disgusting, despicable lack of respect is that Billy What's His Name show booking a match for the total package Lex Luger and Super Brawl? Super Saturday? What is it? I don't even know what it's called. What is it called?
Super Brawl Saturday.
Super Brawl Saturday? Can he afford to pay me to wrestle Ron? I don't know. I'm one of the biggest legends and stars ever in this. God! And your t-shirts are too tight too, Billy! And you book a match with me against Ryan Killings? Look at me! I'm a total package! I will rip him apart! I'm pissed now!
I sometimes I do that where I just go, I'm pissed now.
And you just rip your shirt off.
Yeah. I should do that at work.
Poor Lex. Poor Lex.
Poor Lex. By the way, I'm ill prepared, I guess, because I should have started off with the Sheiky baby in the video. Rest in peace, Iron
Rest
Sheik.
in peace, brother.
Yeah, brother.
In his honor, fuck the wildfires.
Fuck the wildfires.
Dude, that's his last fucking tweet.
Bullshit.
Oh man.
No, yeah, Sheiky baby left us, unfortunately, but he lived a very interesting and full life. If you fucking look past his wrestling career, that guy led a very full, crazy life.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
Hulk Hogan,
fuck
him in the ass.
They could make a movie out of him, man. They totally could.
I like how it starts. Like, are you gonna fuck him in the ass?
Yeah, he's like that. That's gay, Sheik, and he's like, no, I fuck him in the ass with a beer bottle. I shove it up his ass. And they're like, oh, okay.
I make him humble.
Oh my god. But yeah, rest in peace, brother. Go. WWE did put together a little thingy for Iron Sheik on the network, the Peacock thing on there, where they put together some of his big moments, like matches and stuff, like where he beat Bob Backlund, finally dethroning the white milquetoast loser babyface that nobody liked for 6 fucking years. Just want to throw that out there. People don't know hell, man. They didn't live through that Bob Backlund title reign that nobody liked.
Yeah, we don't know pain.
So like
we really don't know it. Just knowing that how long that lasted.
And man, it's like what superstar Billy Graham passed away a week or so ago too, and we didn't talk about that either. Rest in peace, brother.
It's true. Yeah.
The prototype for man, he was Hulk Hogan before Hulk Hogan.
He was a combination of like you said, the prototype, which I know that itself was the name, but like he actually is like the fundamental prototype of like 3 or 4 different types of wrestling personas. He was Hulk. There's a little bit of Ric Flair that comes out through that.
Yep.
You get Jesse the Body that carries over. And then I mean, of course, then those people then inspired so many others. So I know toward the end of his life, he did some weird stuff in terms of some of the interviews and things he said. But at that point, it's kind of like, man, people wrestle. I'm not going to get into it one way or the other whether I agree with anything it said.
Yeah.
It's more about, sometimes I think people get to a certain point in their life and, well, again, they had to experience life, and that's either rub them the wrong way or cause them to think one thing or the other. So,
yeah.
But it is what it is. But nevertheless, yeah, you can't doubt at all. Huge inspiration to the business, and he definitely is missed.
I'm gonna try to track down some more of his stuff too, actually. And like I was saying, he when I dug into the Bob Backlund title reign, I forgot that Bob Backlund beat him originally, cut his reign short, and that's the whole thing that it ended up with superstar Billy Graham being kind of fucked up in the head, because like that whole incident just kind of mind fucked him. Like he thought he was gonna have like a really long title reign shit. That's the way it was presented to him or something.
Yeah, he ended up kind of being like a transitional champion.
Yeah, and then it was like, what the fuck? Like, because business was really high when he was on top there. And then, no. And honestly, if Vince Jr. would have probably had control back then, Billy Graham probably would have been his guy. But that didn't happen yet. But yeah.
We got Billy Graham on Wish.
We lost 2 pretty important wrestlers, but hey, They all had interesting lives.
Yeah, for those that don't have, if you never went back to actually watch matches that far back or have read from the history of wrestling, we're actually watching, even as far back as we're watching now, we're watching right at a time where the veil of kayfabe is starting to come undone because of the steroid trial that had just happened, and it's fairly public knowledge now. Like, wrestling is getting more into that gimmicky character occupation because it's trying to find some other niche because it can't stick on the element of, oh, it's real.
Yeah,
like it can't do that, and even again, you have stalwarts that are still trying. Like WCW is still trying to do that, but it gets kind of goofy as hell too. But what people don't realize is, in the '80s, and earlier than that, it was so hard to be a heel. Like, it's fun to do it outside, like out in the ring and everything, and it's easier or harder in that respect. But it is so hard to live your life and actually stick to that because you have to keep kayfabe real outside. I just watched the Dark Side of the Ring about Magnum TA, and to see all it's really good. But to see all the things that the wrestlers did to go see him after his accident, they weren't allowed to do it. So, like, having to maneuver and sneak out in a hospital and use like police to help them just so they're not seen. And kind of the same thing. I did too, but like it's the same thing. Sheik found a way to live a crazy life, but also do a lot of really good things without people knowing for a long time, but also was still a heel all the time, but then became endearing. It's such a weird thing.
Sheiky Baby told the truth about Hulk Hogan the entire time. He was so, like Roddy Piper did too, and all that other stuff.
It's like a guy that legit probably had a Make-A-Wish, and some kid just like wanted him to come and be like, "Hey, Bubba, fuck you, Hulk Hogan."
Dubs, while you were gone, did you have any comments about Superstar Billy Graham?
I really never followed his stuff. The only thing I remember about him is that tell me if I'm wrong, he said something racist. Was that a thing? Superstar Billy Graham?
I mean, among other things, he said, I don't think it was racist. I think people implied it was. There was like this controversial stuff about Kofi Kingston, but it was more or less like just
sexist or whatever. I know he's like controversial. He said something like, I never followed his career. I know of him.
I thought he was saying something about how like it was that when he had the Jamaican gimmick.
It wasn't Jamaican. I think it was early in his career, but it was technically during that, but it wasn't about that. Basically, he was saying that Kofi needs to get on the juice.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He just took a much more blunt approach to what Booker T did when he was talking about Adam Cole.
That was the last time he got in trouble too. Billy Graham he was talking about Adam Cole, and he said Adam Cole should do steroids.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Honestly, I kind of agree with him though.
Well, that's what I was saying. I didn't want to get into what he said because it's like, in a way, like he's not wrong. It's just the way he's approaching it's a little abrasive. I
feel like Adam Cole has like some kind of autoimmune disease or some shit, and he needs help.
Like, Adam Cole looks like skim milk.
God, what's going on with him? He must have some kind of health issue. Or can you be that lazy where you end up like that small, where you just shrink like that? Like,
you know.
I like Adam Cole too, as charisma-wise, but it is weird. He looks anemic.
I like Adam Cole too, but it's like, man, so far since he's been in AEW, man, it's just not been good for him.
Well, I kind of been like thinking about like this is gonna be a very controversial comment here because everybody hates Vince McMahon, but
no,
I kind of agree with Vince. Take Twitch away from these fuckers because every time they've been doing more Twitch than bodybuilding.
He's addicted to video games. He won't fucking work.
I mean, I don't think I don't agree with that, but on a different premise. Like, you and I are on the same page. I think is why you think they should. I just don't think that would fix it. I just think it's simple as, hey, you know what? If they want to go on Twitch and make money and then do shit work when they work for me, then I'll cut them. I'll just find someone else to do it. I think it's as simple as that. That's what I think.
I think it's the environment, and it's like a motivation thing. Because when he was in WWE, they had an environment and a culture of, hey, you need to like try to be in some kind of shape. It's not as hardline as it was before, because there's all kinds of different looking wrestlers in WWE now, and there has been for like the past 10, 15 years. But like, it's like, hey, be in some kind of shape. Don't look like a fucking piece of shit unless that can be like your gimmick. Like, you know. And like in AEW, there is no culture like that. It's just like whatever you want to be, it's fine.
It's very laid back, and there are good and bad things about that. But like you said, if that culture of competition's not there, but it is. It's there, but in a different way. And I mean, that's actually the problem they're dealing with now, because you have one side of a locker room that are all like heavy bros from all the grind and stuff they've done on the indie scene, and like to them, like this is their thing, and then you got Punk, who is looked at as a cash cow. So like there's all this politicking happening, and frankly, 90% of the people I'm talking about aren't actually in really good shape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like all of them are kind of like they're in good cardio shape, but as far as like the physique to like look like what we would expect a wrestler to look like, they don't necessarily fit it.
I still remember when Triple H called CM Punk skinny fat that one time, and like everybody made fun of him because they thought it was stupid, but they didn't understand what he was saying. He
wasn't wrong.
He was skinny fat, and I was like, that's the first time I was like, you know what, he's right though, actually. And then like CM Punk has never been known for like working out. And that's you can make an argument that's why he gets injured so easily.
Yeah, but my comment with Adam Cole is like, I think he could still do his video games and stuff and maybe Twitch, but he needs to moderate it to a point where he needs to like work out. Like he looks like a generic character that you make in like any video game, just without the muscles, I guess, and it's just weird, but I
want him to do better. That's all. I want him to be better.
I want him to be better, and he he's getting TV time. He's getting some type of push, and good for him. Our boy AJ Styles, though, I love him when he does his video game thing, because remember every time he did up, down, down, he's like, something wrong with this controller. It's not really good. It's working well.
See, AJ Styles
is a redneck and a sore loser. He's just not good. He's not that good at video games. He gets his ass beat and he gets mad about it. It's hilarious.
I think he's more of a single player guy, honestly. But like, I see AJ play fucking games all the time and shit, but he still stays in shape, and he's older. He's like in his 40s.
And he wore a cum shirt with his name on it.
What the fuck?
Hey, you know what we should do? We should use that to switch gears. Talk about WrestleMania 10.
We should. Yes. We hit all the news and all the bottled up thoughts we've been keeping.
The cum shot of 1994, WrestleMania 10.
The of 94. The stepping on a mustard bottle sound of 1994.
Oh man! So we are in Madison Square Garden, New York City, New York.
All is right in the world. WrestleMania is in Madison Square Garden. I know it's a small arena and shit, but man, there's something right about it. It has a feel.
I miss I know a lot of people go Silver Dome, brother, or whatever fucking Hulk Hogan got wrong that one year. He said something dome, but
he said Superdome.
Yeah.
Superdome, yeah.
But I miss indoor WrestleMania. Like, I understand why they do it now. It's a big extravaganza. Everybody in the world is coming, so we need to fill up these like 80,000 fucking 1,000 seats. But I miss the indoor. I want that back so bad.
I miss when it looked like a wrestling show is all, instead of like a big fucking sci-fi fucking, I don't know, stage play or something.
A crazy concert. I agree. I would be hopeful that if they still stick to the 2-day format or 2-night format for WrestleMania, that they might consider doing smaller venues, because you're still going to be able to pull big numbers. But I agree, the environment's great. Not even just WrestleMania. I just like Madison Square Garden's an awesome venue to have a wrestling show, especially a big pay-per-view. Like I love any of like the major events they've done there. So WrestleMania and Royal Rumble. There are a couple of Rumbles that are just fucking awesome that they've had there at MSG. And I think it's all environment, right? Like the one that sticks out to me is I think it's 2008, maybe 2009. John Cena returns, and he'd been injured.
When JR had a fucking heart attack.
It's the funniest thing, because everyone walks online because they can't believe it, but then they remembered they hate him. So it goes from the loudest cheer to the loudest boo I've ever heard.
It's John Cena. Fuck him.
No, they're like, fuck, he's gonna win.
Yeah.
No, I love that entrance, by the way. I like that it's like so unique in Madison Square Garden, especially when the fans are so close and stuff like that.
Agreed.
It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
But Vinnie Mac and Jerry the King Lawler is on commentating. Now, I said it in the Facebook chat. I am not a fan of it, but I'm gonna let it grow because I think eventually they're gonna get a chemistry. I just hated the whole, Vince being the good guy, and then like out of nowhere, Jerry the King Lawler just says stupid shit. Like
I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes his stupid shit makes me laugh out loud, though.
Yeah,
he says a lot of dumb shit on this show that is kind of funny, but you can tell they're not on the same wavelength yet.
Not yet, yeah.
That's the problem. Is Jerry goes way too far when Vince is not ready for it, so that it doesn't mesh well. And that's the whole thing, right? Like your color commentary is only going to be as good as your play-by-play reacting. So Vince like brushes a lot of what he says off, and it kind of just falls flat. But yeah, he does say some really funny stuff.
Yeah, Vince, and I got a soft spot for Vince on commentary anyway. Not that he's like amazing or anything. It's just kind of like nostalgia. But I always thought he was okay. But Vince and King are not JR and King.
Yeah,
it's like two totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly.
Let's see. They show us a bunch of highlights of like the first WrestleMania. And it's like 10 years ago. And it's like, well, it is 10 years at this point.
Yeah, that video at the beginning. Whew.
Yeah, Gorilla fucking talking. I'm like, I want Gorilla. Put Gorilla on the fucking commentating.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he wanted to just stop doing it. I'm not sure what happened there.
And then Smallneck comes out right after the video.
I saw your little tagline there, and I was like, oh, it's Little Richard. That's why I laughed randomly before. I was like, oh, okay, I just got it. And then I just want to say this, like Little Richard comes out, and I'm like, this is weird, because at the same moment in time, WCW is pushing a guy whose gimmick is that he's Little Richard of wrestling, and then Vince actually gets Little Richard.
That's actually the best part, is Johnny B. Bad is literally Little Richard the wrestler.
Hang on, like, I just had a thought. Why did Turner Broadcasting never fucking pony up the money to get Little Richard to appear with fucking Johnny B. Bad at a wrestling event? Like, what would happen? Would the timeline just crunch? It cause like a
fucking what's that word when two of the same people? Fuck, I don't know the word. I'm blanking on it.
I don't know why anybody looked at Little Richard and said, "What if we gave him muscles?" and thought that was a good idea. It just put him out there. Woo! It's weird. But what's funny about that is at the same time, because Mark Mero's going to switch over pretty soon, right? We've got like a year or two.
I think it's next year.
Yeah, he's going to move over, and then like Johnny B. Bad just like doesn't like it, just out the gates just doesn't happen, and then Mero takes off, and then it actually turns out they don't really give a shit about Miro. They try to do a few things, but they want Sable, which I just watched the Candido and Tammy Sitch Dark Side as well. That was the premiere of the season, and they actually talk about that because that's part of when Sonny or Tammy's character starts to kind of fade off and burn out because she's gotten into some bad shit backstage, and she's already got a lot of heat anyway. People don't like her attitude. Then Sable comes on, and they're just way higher on Sable, so then she gets kind of left behind.
Oh, no. Yeah. The word I'm looking for was time paradox. So if you have Little Richard and Johnny B. Bad,
maybe that's why they never appeared on screen.
You just hear if both of them let the same frequency of woo out, then like the world just the fourth and fifth dimensions collapse on one another, and we all get sucked in.
It was probably for the best.
Talking about him, my favorite thing that Mark Mero ever said was when I found out Sable was sleeping with a guy in the back, I was like, I don't care who it is, I'm going to kill that man, and I'm going to find out. And then I realized it was Brock Lesnar, and that was the moment I understood that, you know what, you can forgive someone for anything.
In that case, there's this thing called a gun.
I am paraphrasing what he said. I don't remember verbatim the quote, but it's effectively that. He was like, I'm going to whoop whoever's ass it is. He finds out it's Brock Lesnar and is like, you know what, I'm going to let that one go.
That's right. Cornette had a really similar story about that one time where like, what was it? It's when he was running OVW, and I think the chick who was Sin, she was like a manager down there at the time. She had some kind of like operation or whatever done, and there was a spot where Brock was supposed to press slam her, and then she's like, "Hey, be careful around my crotch area. It's sensitive right now," or whatever. And he's like, "Okay," and he basically ignored her and lifted her kind of roughly, and it hurt. And then after everybody got backstage, she was fucked up and hurt. And then he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Imagine Cornette yelling at Brock Lesnar, and he's like, "What? Why? What are you mad about?" And he's like, "Motherfucker, I might not be able to beat your ass, but I have a goddamn gun." And then Brock was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, gun usually wins. That's why Stryker was a Mortal Kombat character. It's like you can be in the tournament against Outworld. Power of gun, it fucking wins. You know.
I miss when Curtis Stryker was like a fat rent-a-cop looking guy. I wish he could still be like that.
Did you see the video? I know we're getting way off topic, but did you see the thing today?
Not yet.
Okay, I'm not going to spoil it, but you may or may not have gotten your wish.
Oh shit! Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Sorry, let's get back on topic. Yeah. They show us a quick little recap with the Brett and Owen feud, and we didn't really miss much from not watching the TV, so we're good. And it's Owen Hart versus Bret Hart, and I'm gonna try to like not nerd out really hard on this match because I did.
We could talk about this match for an hour. Right,
you really could. I wrote a fuck ton of notes, so I'm going to try to like not read all of them.
Can I bring something up that the ring announcer kind of fucking trolled the fucking crowd? By the way,
what?
Oh yeah.
So Bill Dunn was the ring announcer, and he automatically mentions from Calgary, Alberta. Everybody starts cheering, and it's fucking Owen Hart. I was like, yes,
yeah.
You're like, it's Owen. They're from. I forgot they're brothers.
Yeah, that's right. They did come from the same womb. Yeah, that's right. Shit. I know you're gonna do the play-by-play, and we're gonna go into it in a lot of detail, I'm sure. But this, I mean, because. To preface for whoever doesn't want to listen for the next half hour of us going on about how great this match is, this is the best WrestleMania opening match of all time. It might be the best opening match of all time.
It might be. I know a lot of people say, no, I'm thinking of something. I was confused with something else. My bad. But yeah.
What's close is William Regal versus Chris Jericho, I believe, at WrestleMania 15, 17?
Oh, the European...
17.
Yeah,
or Intercontinental title. It's one or two. That one, that match is okay. I don't think that's anywhere close to this.
It's a good match. It's not. But it's not this.
Yeah, this is like arguably like this is in the top, probably easily in the top 5 WrestleMania matches of all time too.
I mean, you want to get right down to this is one of the best matches in WWE's history or wrestling history, just generally.
I agree. So. It's also my personal top 5. So I'm a little biased. But
right now, it's in it for me. So,
so far, 5, same.
Number 1 for me is Bret Hart versus Stone Cold, but that's totally different match.
That's for another day.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that another time. But that is the only WrestleMania match that I have above this one. So that's the only reason I didn't just say it's the best one in my opinion, because I do have one above it. But yeah.
Yeah, Owen comes out and. This is it. He's fully formed into what he's known for here today in this match. He's a little prickish, asshole, spoiled brother. And he's great at this prickish heel shit. And it's on full display in this match. And like from the lockup, when they first lock up, and then it's like neither of them gets an advantage, and he breaks off, and he goes, yeah! He did something amazing there. It was just like, it popped me. I don't know.
No, it is great. That's what's so wonderful too. There's not a lot that he does to try to get people to see what his personality is. He lets all of it happen in the ring. I mean, of course, there's already the build-up that's happened, but like everything that happens there, you don't have to have a whole lot of the story. This is one of those matches where if you watch the video vignette they give you, it's enough to give you what you need, and then the psychology within the match itself sells it. Which is like, it's beautiful. It's an absolute wrestling clinic. But it's those little mannerisms, like you said. He does all the same things Brett does, but he acts like he's entitled, like he did something great because he's on the same level as his brother. So then he celebrates.
And then actually, Jerry Lawler actually helps on the commentary with this, where he talks about how Brett always used to bully Owen, or like, see, Owen invented that move. Shit like that. It's just funny.
Yeah.
But, at first, they're just mat wrestling each other and escaping holds and stuff. And then, Owen starts cheating, and pretty soon he's pulling hair and stuff. And then let's see, Owen almost walks out of the ring, and Brett brings him back. And then he's like, come on, we're here. I thought you wanted to fight, like that kind of thing. And they go from there, and I think Brett gets crucifixed, and then Owen hits that flying heel kick. Man, nobody really does that move like the way he does it. I haven't seen anybody else do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think the closest guy that does it is CM Punk now. But I think they roll out of the ring after that. Like he stomps the shit out of Brett and forces him out of the ring at that point. And then Owen gets him and runs his back in the ring post. It's like, oh shit, here we go. And then they do the turnbuckle spot. He throws Brett the turnbuckle. He takes a turnbuckle. Like nobody takes turnbuckles like Brett until today. Owen's got his own way of doing it. But yeah, he puts him in the camel clutch, and he's working him over with that.
He's making him humble, brother.
He's making him humble. And he's but Brett manages. He's like, and again, this is like where more of the storytelling and stuff in the match is playing out. Where Owen's like got him in the camel clutch. He's like twisting his head and yelling at him and shit. It's like he's just letting out all this pent up rage, jealousy shit out right there.
Mm-hmm.
Then he hits belly for 2, and then Owen keeps doing like all this real unique offense stuff, like you don't see very often at this point. Like he does a springboard crossbody out of the corner, and he's a heel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Brett reverses the pin tip there for 2. Then he crossbodies him for 2, and then Owen does big German suplex, great bridge for 2. He's got one of the best German suplexes.
Yeah, that's what's so beautiful about it, is that he's able to use a move set that otherwise was just frowned upon for a heel. But his character is that he's trying to show up his brother.
Yeah.
So he's showing that he can do it, and just by being able to do the wrestling, he is being a heel. It's genius.
He's a really skilled wrestler, but he's an asshole about it.
Right.
It's what it is.
Well, it's this chip that he's put on his own shoulder within the confines of the story, so that no one else sees. Like he still sees it like he's the good guy in it, but
Yep.
he's just an asshole. But again, he's wrestling. And the other nice thing I really like, especially when they do moves that are similar to one another,
Mhm.
and it's just beautiful. Brett does such a good job of just gradually building the intensity of how he delivers his moves.
Yeah.
He stays so well controlled and poised, and just trying to be very like clean and tight with how he does everything, because he's not trying to wrestle to hurt his brother. He's wrestling. It's like you're trying to keep someone away to fight you. It's like when someone was pissed and they want to swing at you, and instead of you swinging back because you're not trying to fight them, you're just trying to hold them off and like keep them from hitting. Like again, it's like you're in a fight with a sibling or something, and you don't want to be the jerk and hurt them, but then they keep hitting you, and then finally you're like, no, fuck this, and then you let loose, and that's what happens in this match.
Yep, that too.
Without a word said, it's fucking brilliant.
I think Brett shoots Owen off. This was a big spot in the match. And I think Brett tried to do like some kind of slam move, but Owen flips out of it, picks him up, and then spins around and tombstone pile drives him out of nowhere. Like one of the best looking tombstone pile drivers ever.
Well,
that got a big reaction.
Well, doesn't he make it look like he's going to do another move, but it's like, fuck it, I'm doing a tombstone pile driver?
No, it's just confusing because, I've seen him do both versions where he does it like on the knees, or he just does like a sit out version.
Yeah, where he almost kills Stone Cold.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is because he does both versions of it, and there was just a miscommunication between them. But then Owen hits a diving headbutt too and misses. And then Brett starts his comeback from there. He goes inverted atomic drop, clothesline, shoot off, gut punch. And this is where he gets pissed because he hits him with this Russian leg sweep, Brett's got the best Russian leg sweep ever. I don't care what anybody says. He hits him with like the coldest Alberta winter winds cold Russian leg sweep. It like fucking knocked him on his ass. And then he's like, fuck you. And he picks him up, backbreaker. And he does it. Huh?
Is that when the spit shows up on the side of Owen's mouth?
I think he starts fucking him up at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just hits him with like
on his face.
He hits him with like this flurry. And he does like an elbow, the elbow drop from the second rope. And then like he almost beats him with it. And then Brett gets up and he argues with Earl Hebner, which is like something that he never really does. Brett never argues with the referee.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
This is that's funny.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's long-term storytelling right there.
It started here.
Really though, like within this story, it's what we're talking. Like it's boiled over. Now he's lost his cool because he's getting shown up and he's getting tousled around by his little brother in front of all these people.
Yeah.
And he's like the hero, so he's getting pissed. He's getting unnerved. Like it makes sense. It's like as real as it could get. This is exactly what you would expect if two brothers like this would fight in this exact setting. If it played out this way, this is exactly how you would expect them to be. Like if one was trying not to fight and then initially got pissed enough, he's like, no, screw this. This is exactly how it would play out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chaz, when you brought up the whole like Owen thinks he's the good guy and stuff, the first person that came to mind was a comic book character, Lex Luthor, where he's like, I'm a good man. I'm trying to stop this alien guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, but didn't you create the problem and bring him here so that you could then be the guy? It's like that. No, he sees himself as the hero. He's Homelander. Right? There's a more modern take to that, but yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
the best thought I've ever heard about like heel psychology, I think it was from Dutch Mantel, and he says like a good heel believes in everything that he says. Like he believes he's right and all this other stuff. He might not actually be right, but he believes that he is. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's what Owen's doing here. Yeah, let's see. Brett backs on the corner, and then Owen hits him with the enziguri. He quickly rolls Brett up for 2, but when Brett kicks out, Owen gets flung out of the ring, and Brett dives over the ropes at him, which is something you don't usually see him do either. And Brett hurt his knee there. Like when he hit the floor, he was like, "Oh shit, my knee!" And Owen, this is where Owen's fucked up. Actually, I have it wrote here. Owen gets up and he's like doing a timeout thing, and he's calling for timeout. And there's like nobody in front of him. Like he's just like totally out of it.
That's one of the best like asshole heel things anybody can do. It's no wherewithal, no timeout in a sporting event that has never in the history of ever had timeouts. You can just call like that. It's perfect.
But eventually Brett's able to get back in the ring, and then Owen's in the corner and he's begging off. And then Owen starts kicking his leg. He kicks his leg out of his leg again. And he works Brett's leg for a while. He's doing like submissions and stuff. And then Brett, he goes for like another dragon screw, or leg lace, whatever. So the guy grabs the leg and rolls you over and it fucks your knee up. But Brett hits his own enziguri, and this is where Brett makes Owen eat his own turnbuckle. And when Owen hits turnbuckle, he hits it hard in the chest, and he flies backwards. It's like, damn.
There's a thud.
Brett hits a bulldog for 2, and then a spike pile driver for 2. I'm just gonna level with you all. Whenever I see somebody do a pile driver, I can't just a regular pile driver. I always go, oh! I can't help it because I fucking love that move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wish it were a finisher more often.
Me too, because it's like, dude, you just dropped the dude on top of his head. He should be done.
It's like, what's funny is like, if that move is done wrong in any way whatsoever, that person at the best case scenario is unconscious, or you break their neck or kill them.
Yeah.
Just by the purpose of what the move is, it should be a finisher. Like, or it's acceptable as one. I just thought like when it's a transition move, but we don't need to get on that whole boomer thing.
I just
no, flippy doodah.
Yeah, my thing is I respect the Tombstone pile driver because the Undertaker
It's
because
good too.
he does it well, but I don't think it has a lot of damage like than a sit down pile driver.
It doesn't look like the classic pile driver, let alone if the guy can actually manage to get that little hop, like Paul Orndorff does, or Brett does. Brett does it too in his own way. It just looks bad, man. Ugh.
You want a random shout out? And I'll die on this hill. I'll say it. I'm gonna sound like a fucking idiot for saying it. Do you know who has a really good pile driver, but like everything else about them is kind of meh or just outright shit?
Who?
Disco Inferno.
I mean, you know what? Like Disco Inferno, like
the jumping 180 pile driver thing was fucking cool looking. Not safe at all, but it's really fucking cool looking.
Did he ever injure anybody with it?
No, I not that I know of. I mean, technically, right? See, exactly. But everything else about him is. So
at some point in time, for whatever reason, I don't know what. I guess it's because the pile driver just became not as fashionable to do. I think people stopped learning how to do it correctly, and it became more risky. Because there was a time where a lot of people would do a pile driver, and you'll hear a lot of the older guys say, well, God damn, I'd rather, instead of like having some dude beat my ass with a chair over and over, I'd rather take a pile driver. It's less punishing.
Yeah. Well, another thing too is like the different ways people would do it. Like I always think about like the old Gotch pile driver where he's locked, or even like Jerry Lawler's pile driver. He takes such a long time to let him set up, and people don't realize it's not just about like letting them sit upside down. He's letting that person load their weight against them so that none of the fall is on their neck. It's actually the safest way to do it. Where you have so many people that when they try to do it, they do like a snap and it's real quick. And it's actually the unsafe way to do it. So,
like the Tony Storm pile driver.
God, it looks so cool, but dear God, it looks like she's going to kill someone.
Well, the thing about her is her ass is so big that it's. I mean, no, legitimately, I think it's like it's like I got this big thing. I can use it to cushion all the blow, and it'll look great.
I mean, it works. No one's getting hurt, and they keep doing it, and it looks like murder when she does it. So
I love it.
Speaking of murder, kind of a little off topic, but you brought it up, Zach, about like the chair shots. People would rather take pile drivers than chair shots. Yeah. AEW had a head chair shot for the first time. Like I saw a head chair shot, and I kind of popped for it.
Did everybody freak out on the internet and fucking shame them for doing it?
No, because it was Jungle Boy who did the chair shot.
What is this double standard shit?
I now to be fair, I haven't heard anything about it, but I didn't watch this episode last night, so I can't talk too much about for that. But there have been a couple of headshots, but like they usually are choreographed in a way like it's pretty easy to tell the person got their hand up and blocked it like they're supposed to. Mm-hmm. And you actually take it on your hand. Was it like that, or did the person actually take it open?
It was the hand.
Oh yeah. Fine.
But
I like XPW. They handcuffed the bitch and said, "Take it."
No. Like I still, even though they did the hand thing, I still pop for it because, like, you watch WWE, they go on their knees and they do the whole camera shaking with the chair shots to the back, and I fucking hate it.
It's because every time someone in WWE accidentally gets hit in the head with a chair, Vince McMahon can hear Chris Benoit talking in his sleep.
Or what's that guy who he like sued WWE because of CTEs? Chris Nowinski, I think.
Oh, Nowinski, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We went on a big tangent there about pile drivers, but
back to greatness.
I feel like my joke hit the way I thought it was going to. Whoops. Yeah, back to the good stuff.
Let's see. Brett puts on up on turnbuckle. Excuse you. That was a good one, though.
Thank you.
And he hits a top rope superplex, and both guys are exhausted. And there's none of that lame-ass shit where somebody does a superplex, the guy rolls over and fucking pins him. I hate that. I hate that spot. It takes so long.
It's like the immediate reversal. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like, did it not fucking hurt?
Yeah.
But like
it took, by the way.
Yeah, it did. And it took Brett several seconds for him to even attempt to cover him. And that's how they were selling. It would have been 3. You feel like that would have been 3, but because he was so slow to cover him, it wasn't. And then Jerry Lawler says a great line. Brett knows he can't beat Owen. He can feel it sinking in. Now he's trying to draw strength from all the idiots in this place. I just like how he calls everybody idiots. I don't know.
I just think it's funny. Jerry the King Lawler has no shirt on. He just has his stupid little fucking king cape.
he dresses like that for a while. Then eventually he's allowed to wear those fucking affliction shirts and shit.
It's worth it though because of just the one time that he like ran. I was it a Rumble or a Battle Royal that he got called in to be in the match, and he just got up from the announcing desk in his robes and then just entered, and then got thrown out immediately, and then went back to commentating.
Yeah.
So it's worth it. It's worth that he wears it because you never know when you need to be ready to wrestle.
Let's see. Brett slugs Owen. Owen swings and misses. Brett gets a sleeper on Owen. And then Owen leans into the ropes because he's like, oh, fuck. He feels like he can get beat here. And the ref gets real close. And then Owen hits like the fastest reverse nutsack kick I've ever seen. It was so fast and smooth. Like it happened I think he hit it under a second.
It was so fast. I think Earl Hebner saw it and had to like fucking not see it.
It was like he thought it was a mirage. I think it was so fast.
It was
and then Brett's down, and then Owen puts him the hold that he invented, the sharpshooter. He invented the sharpshooter, and after a short while, Brett reverses it. But Owen's too close to the rope, so he gets out. And then Owen goes to the corner, climbs Brett puts Owen in the corner. And he tries to climb the turnbuckle, and he's going to do a victory roll. But when he executes it, Owen just kind of like walks forward and stops and sits on him, and he gets 3. He beats him. that's the finish.
It's fucking brilliant.
The best part of the finish is like beyond the fact that it was out of nowhere and there's 3 is when he beats him. He doesn't even realize that he won. He's so fucking out of it and beat up. He's like, and like Dub's talking about the spit on his mouth. He's like,
oh, we're gonna get back to that because I'm glad. I didn't know if it'd be brought up during the match or after in the interview, but we're gonna talk about that. But it's beautiful.
I like to think somebody told him, like, you got a thing on your mouth. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna leave it there. It'll look hilarious when I get in front of the camera.
I know. It looks like your brother jizzed on your face during the match. Just wipe it off. And he's like, no, it's good.
I liked Brett's reaction, by the way. Like he's mad that he lost, but he's not super mad because he's like, hey, you won.
You got me.
Yeah, you got me.
It was a legit win. He kicked him in the nuts, but he still won.
That's actually the beauty of this too, though, is that with that same story, it's these 2 brothers that are fighting, but the whole premise is that Owen wants this match because he wants to prove he's a better wrestler. So he still has to win as a wrestler. It can't just be a brawl. Yeah. It boils into that because there are all these tensions, but they still try to stay true to, like, instead of just outright being a street fight like you would see in a lot of more modern wrestling
nowadays.
Yeah, they still stick to trying to out wrestle each other. Like the spirit of that competition is there the whole time. And then at the end, even when it's getting to its ugliest form, like you have a lot of cheating and other stuff, they are still trying to turn on those signatures, and then just in like the best way ever to turn right back around in just one sweep of brilliance, he manages to win by out wrestling him. It is all just technical.
Yep.
That's what's so great about it.
And besides, you guys have brothers. Have you ever kicked your brother in the nuts before?
Yeah, I threw him through a fence.
Yeah.
I've kicked in the nuts, and I've been kicked in the nuts. It happens.
Yes, I've been on both ends of the nut kicking, and yeah, I have a friend now. I don't remember ever hurting my brother specifically, like nothing that I can remember. Like he has a scar from it, but I remember having a bunch of friends over once, and we were all doing a bunch of dumb stuff. And actually, I was imitating Owen Hart. We were imitating the Insecurity. And I kicked him, and I didn't mean to catch him, but I kicked the piss out of him. Well, 8-year-old me that I could. And he got really mad, so he kicked me in the nuts. So I DDT'd him into the vent, and I gashed his eyebrow open.
Oh, shit.
So he gets really upset, and then he picks up, there's a glass next to me, so he hits me. So I have a scar. Both of us have scars on our eyebrows to this day because we beat the hell out of each other just because wrestling just went a little too far.
And see, it's like Brett says. He's like, what's one of the most relatable things you can do is everybody has a family. and families don't get along all the time. Brothers fight.
Yeah.
There you go.
My frog
It
splash.
works. It's one of the best stories. You frog splash somebody?
Yeah, my brother.
I've done that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, I went on top of the shed and it was on a trampoline, and I fucking flew, dude. I broke my elbow.
How
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, froggy. Yeah, we did the thing, like just redneck kids, because I was in a trailer park, and we had enough space with our neighbors, so we set up a trampoline that was kind of like shared between like 2 or 3 like trailers there, and then we had an above ground pool that you totally shouldn't dive in, anyway, much less jump off of a anything. So like they were side by side, so you could jump from the trampoline over into it and do moves and stuff. Yeah, we would do shit like that. I remember somebody hitting their head once. I don't remember anybody having any really serious injuries though. But I always wondered, like someone. I never tried. I never tried anything too crazy from that, like senton stuff like that. Nothing too nutty. But I luckily never got hurt. Not at least that with that specific setup. But I just remember that being set up and like people like those kids. Someone's gonna drown.
Mhm.
I don't know how we didn't. I have no idea how we didn't.
Now, the twist in the story is somebody did, and you don't remember it because you were concussed.
I've actually been dead for 30 years. I'm a mirage.
You're a mirage.
I'm a manifestation of someone else's guilty conscience.
You're a NPC in a bootleg Pokemon game that's haunted.
Don't call me an NPC. I'll fucking stab you. Fucking guy. If a guy stab someone for me, call him NPC at a Dollar General. Damn. All right, we got off topic.
You guys, I already fucking said all my shit about this match before, and I did all the moves. Actually, I read all my notes. I just did it in a really fast, succinct manner.
I think you handled it pretty well.
Yeah,
So, what do you guys got to say about this?
I love this match, and it's gonna sound like when we get to the rating part, because like you can just be like, well, what did you give the Stone Cold and Bret Hart match? But it's like there was nothing wrong with this match. Nothing.
Nope.
There's nothing I could like take points away. Even though it was really long, it was still enticing to see. It was still engaging to see. And I wanted more, even though it was like too long.
I didn't feel the length at all. Like when it was over, I was just like, damn, that was like a 20+ minute match. It doesn't feel like it.
You don't feel it. It feels like 5 minutes.
I feel the fucking doink match. I'll tell you that. But
hey,
we'll get
hang
to
on.
Yeah, don't worry. We're gonna get there.
You got Chaz about this.
Wait, what was the score? He didn't say it.
Oh, we're giving scores. 10 out of 10. Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Not that I was trying to push you into saying yours first. It wasn't that. It was just I don't have any other comments to say because I've already said everything about it. But again, this is to me for setup. If I ever had to introduce someone to wrestling, like to really get them to watch it, and they were earnestly going to try to like get into wrestling or what it's supposed to be, this is one of the matches I would show them.
Yeah.
I show them the clip at the beginning so they kind of understand what it is. Maybe give a little backstory to why it's a big deal because it's Bret Hart, and this is the match I would show them, or at least one of the matches. It, in my opinion, is it is one of the best matches, like we said before, in WWE, WWF history. It's by far none. By far it's one of the best non-title matches ever too. That's the other thing. Like a lot of times, like there are certain matches that get a certain prestige or a certain weight because they're for something.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with that, but it also has everything to do with it later on, which is another thing that makes it even better. In my previous rating system, when I was doing quarter stars, this would have been a 10. I was torn between whether I would want to go down or not, because I guess it depends on if I only wanted 10 to be a certain set of number or matches, or if it's like 10 should just be the number one match. But I think that's bullshit. I think I try to like inflate in my own head that only one match should be a 10 out of 10, but that's stupid.
No.
So for those reasons, I think like the best matches I've ever watched are fair to put in that caliber, and that's what should be there. But it shouldn't be, and it's okay that there's more than one. So, and for that reason alone, I'm going to keep it at a 10. I'll say at least I was debating at one point and originally marked it as 9.8. But I think I'm okay with going back to 10 because really looking back at it, like you said, there's nothing wrong. This is a flawless match, start to finish. There's so much people can learn. Like you could literally do an entire lecture series like of wrestling theory on this match alone. Like have someone in an auditorium and teach people about wrestling for 8 hours about this match. That's how good it is. So yeah, so this is the definition of a perfect match. So yeah, 10 out of 10.
Let's see. This made Owen a star for the rest of the time he was there. Like this is what made him this match. And yeah, it's probably one of the best matches they ever had there. I give it a 9.2 out of 10. It's one of the highest ratings I've given out since I've started doing this. And then right after his match, Todd Pettigrew catches Owen backstage, and he asks him to like comment on the match, and he's like, "You did it! I did it! I proved I was the better man!" And he's not taking. But the funny thing is, he's not taking anything away from Brett either, which is kind of interesting. And then Pettigrew asks Owen if he thinks Brett's got a chance to win the title tonight. He says he doesn't have a hope in hell, and I was like, "Damn, Owen 316." I think he flipped him off too after he won. I'm pretty sure he flipped him off. I was like, "Damn, Owen." Good shit.
That's how Stone Cold, he stole his idea. That's why Owen Hart fucking broke his neck.
It's like, I'll teach you.
Stole his gimmick.
Gimmick infringement. Doink. So the next match is Doink with Dink versus Bam Bam Bigelow and Luda Vachon. I totally wasn't expecting this, but I said, man, we go from the sublime to like the sub basement of wrestling. What the fuck?
The fucking chuds.
Before we get to that, by the way, Bill Dunn introduces the president of the hair club for men, and we see fucking Howard Finkel with a head of hair.
I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I had to Google him, and I was like, oh, this is the guy that invented the hair club for men shit. All right. Why is he here?
Oh, man, I forgot. I'm not going to lie, because I watched the show. For those that do watch regularly, if you're aware, we had to reschedule a few times because, life events get in the way and different things. I've watched this. This is one of my favorite WrestleManias. I've watched it so many times. I don't need to watch it for the matches, but I still did in good faith. I watched it a few weeks ago. I don't know why. I put a memory block on all the shit that happened in between. I totally forgot about Hair Club for Men and later on the president.
The president, Bill Clinton, is at this show.
Dear God. It is like this WrestleMania defines exactly what WWE is, or what he wanted it to be. Like when it's hitting, it's cream of the crop. It truly is just like the best stuff. But then when they're not, it is just why am I watching this? This is 90s TikTok cringe is what this is. I don't want to watch this.
Why does Howard Finkel always when he's about to announce, he does that?
Because he's getting ready. He's you know how birds sing and they kind of like move their head and they puff out their chest. That's what Howard has to do to get all of his pipes going.
Remember when CM Punk brought him back and he was stunned for a little bit, and CM Punk did the this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this.
Peace, Howard Finkel, by the way.
Rest in peace, brother. But one of the best, as far as I'm concerned, he was the best ring announcer ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't waste any time with this one though. I'll give them that. They work at a much faster pace than what you think they would typically. Bam Bam stuff looks good as always, but the highlight was Luna getting to beat up Dink.
Yeah.
And it was refreshing for there to be a voice on commentary. Jerry Lawler was saying everything we've been thinking ever since we've seen Dink. He wanted to see Bam Bam crush Dink, and I was like, please let it happen. Please let it be here, because I know it happens somewhere at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't here.
Yeah. My favorite comment about this, like pulling up, because I like to pull up different like threads for match cards because they'll give different details and some people will bring up like their own opinions. And someone's like ridiculous comment about this match was the Jersey Beast versus oh shit, why is that written out? Budget Clown, I can't remember whatever it said, and then the lower one was in Pink versus Stink, and it smells like that. I was like, that's a really fucking weird thing to say. Oh, Bozo, that's what I was trying to think of. Budget Bozo.
Bozo.
He said Beast from the East versus Budget Bozo and Pink versus Stink, and the match smelled like that.
Oh, since we're on topic of Doink, quick plug. There's going to be a Dark Side of the Ring about Doink the Clown, Matt Bourne.
Matt Bourne, yeah, I know. I'm excited, but
I'm very
also,
curious to see what we're going to learn about that. But
we keep bringing up Dark Side too. It has also been said that just people should brace themselves for the Marty Jannetty episode.
I'm looking forward to that too.
It says that people are going to think differently about him one way or the other, and that either means they're going to have a shocked opinion that changes, or they're just going to have whatever weird shit they thought about him solidified.
Yeah.
So apparently it is not good.
I hope he brings up about Shawn Michaels not being gay.
I hope he brings up that thing where he kills a man in a bowling alley. That's what I want.
There is no fucking way that is not on there. Like, that probably is what helped stem them doing it, because they're like, did he just admit to murdering a guy for molesting him and then hiding the body? And they're like, no, guys, it's all wrestling. It's kayfabe. I made it up. Did you? And then he had that weird stuff about how it's okay to like love your stepdaughter if they're a certain age, or he said some weird shit on fucking Facebook. Facebook was not a good place for Marty Jannetty to go to.
He was ahead of the game of Pornhub, huh?
Yes, yeah. He wanted that mom swap, I guess. I don't know.
God damn.
Well, anyway.
Back to this match.
I didn't write much about this because it was so short, and it was fucking Doink. It was the Doink I don't like. So Bam Bam beats Doink after hitting the headbutt from the top rope for 3. And then after he did like a move or whatever. But after the match, Luna, Bam Bam beat up on Dake some more. I was shocked that the heels won, by the way, for some reason. They beat up Dake, and they get ready to like flatten him. Like they're both going to splash him, and that's when Dake escapes and the heels leave. But I think he fucked up his timing or whatever, because Luna landed on him, and then she like shoved him away. Like, is it, you dumbass, you fucked it up or something? I don't know.
I think Vince just loves midgets getting owned, so that's why they won.
Vince loves midgets. I think he thinks it's like one of the funniest things ever.
I think Vince fucked a midget at some point in his life.
Oh,
yeah, Linda McMahon.
Yeah, Vince definitely had a midget prostitute, and he's like spun her around.
I mean, she's a really slight woman. I'm just saying. Vince is like 3 of her.
You heard the story about, what was it? Which WrestleMania? It's the one where Chris Jericho was going to fight Mickey Rourke, and they wanted a thing, and then like there was like some weird fallout because Mickey Rourke thought wrestling was real because he got really too into his character, and he actually thought Chris Jericho was going to beat him up, but they convinced him to come, so he brought bodyguards and he brought like UFC fighters with him. I think, wasn't it? Was it Frank Shamrock maybe that was with him?
I think.
And like Chris Jericho goes over to Vince, and Vince is like, "You should get him to do a thing with us." Like, no, he brought bodyguards. And Vince is like, "What? Those 2 bitches? No, this is fine. Chris, you go ahead and take Mickey. I'll take the midget over there." And it's definitely like a UFC like heavyweight Hall of Famer that would beat his ass.
Yeah, Vince is crazy though, man. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're just under if you're under 6 foot tall, you're a midget.
You're a goddamn midget, pal.
That's the way it's said.
You're a B+ player.
There's no changing the slur. Like, you're not a little person. You're a midget. You're just
that's why I said Linda McMahon was a midget. She's a B+ player.
That's why she got fucking divorced.
Fuck. But yeah. I should have hated this more than I did, but I didn't because the Dink got beat up. So I had fun. So I gave it a 5.2 out of 10.
I know the reason why this match is after fucking Owen and Brett, because like you have to cool down.
You need a buffer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This was a buffer. I didn't give it a rating. Oh, go ahead.
I gave it a 5.1 out of 10.
I mean, I guess I'll give one. Yeah, I'll go ahead and give it one. I guess I'm kind of being weak sauce about it. I mean, I thought it was
Thanks,
fine, so
sauce.
I'll give it a 5. I mean,
Dink
I guess
sauce.
pink sauce. Ugh. Is that what Owen had on his face? Pink
Yes.
sauce.
Because he was under the ring. He's like, oh, you got it right.
They got him with the mustard bottle. Damn it. But honestly, I watched it and I was like, this match is taking forever. And I didn't look up at what the time was on it when I rated it, but I just assumed this is the longest squash I've ever seen. And I know it wasn't technically a squash, but it did still feel pretty one-sided throughout. I did feel like the attitude of it was kind of weird at the end, because you'd think if the heels were going to go over dominantly, they would have actually just done the whole thing where they like completely ended Dink and Doish or Doink Doish.
Deutsch.
That's
Deutsch
weird.
Dink.
That Doish.
Yahosa.
You would have thought they would have just ended the whole thing, but it doesn't end, so it just feels like it's, I don't know, it feels kind of odd. It's definitely a placeholder.
Now I want Alex Wright to be Doink. I want him to do the
Doink.
dance, but he's dressed as Doink. I want to see that.
But his clown stuff though is all in the German flag. He's still
Yes,
wearing
he's
like
the leader hose and the suspenders. Yes. We'll make this a guy. I'm gonna make him on 2K23.
stereotypical. Just make him fucking. He's hosting Oktoberfest and he's wearing clown makeup.
But he's like a fucked up German fairy tale clown, so he's like really evil.
Fucking Gunther as Doink.
Here you go. But he dances. The dancing is really disturbing.
This could have been worse. So I was entertained mildly.
I gotta ask this question. When did Vince Russo come into WWE?
Oh, that wasn't until like 96.
Okay,
And-
who
It's
invented?
after Monday, like the Nitro stuff started.
Yeah.
Okay, who invented this ass backwards falls count anywhere fucking match that we're about to talk about?
I'm not gonna lie, baby. I think this might be one from the main man. You know.
That's the above.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. It's one of his things. Do it again.
That's to somebody else.
Because there's some confusing shit that I thought I'd see on WCW when they were trying to explain the rules to me. It reminded me of that Cactus Jack match.
It reminds me of TNA's fucking backwards Royal Rumble where they have to throw them inside the ring or whatever.
Reverse Battle Royal.
The Reverse Battle Royal made more sense.
Shit. No, like I think this made more sense than that, but like it's just because they hit us with it, and it's like what? And then like I kind of adjusted to it. It was weird, but I was like, okay, I want to say this is probably like some kind of variation on a Falls Count Anywhere rules, probably from some other territory. It's just like how when you find out everybody else did cage matches completely different from WWF did.
You don't escape. Yeah.
No, you don't escape in a cage match in every other territory.
Yeah. Yeah, escaping the cage was exclusive to WWF. The whole point of the cage actually was to be the blow off of, well, you can't escape.
Yeah.
In WWF, they were like, well, bullshit, you can't. You can climb right out. In fact, you can win that way.
So maybe this is like the old territory WWF Falls Count Anywhere rules. I'm not sure, though. I'm going to have to try to research this.
This is fucking White Devil Island. Brother rules is what this is.
But yeah, like they start this match. It's Randy Savage versus Majin Crush with Mr. Fuji.
Majin Crush, I forgot.
Yeah,
and, I forgot the nickname. That's great.
Can I bring something up? Sure. Macho Man still has the crowd still popping for Macho Man Randy Savage.
He's iconic at this point, you know.
Vince is so stupid. Like Hulk Hogan left, right? He's gone. Yeah. He's doing Thunder in Paradise, about to be on WCW. You have Brett, who's fucking hot as a champion. You could have had Macho Man be a fucking heel at some point, going against Bret Hart at some point.
Do you think they would have booed him? I don't know. Like, I feel like he probably could have pulled it off if he did something real heinous, because he's crazy enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I wonder if the level he's at there, if they would really boo him.
I don't know.
He's just at to me, he's at that level of character that Undertaker gets to in the late end of his career. Like, no matter what Undertaker does, he's just, everyone loves him because of his character being so iconic. I think Macho Man's kind of there. Like, his character just transcends the laws of being a heel or a face.
Yeah.
It's weird. Also,
Vince-
yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have fucked Stephanie. That's what happened, right? Oh, that hogwash.
What were you gonna say, Dubs?
Vince dropped the ball on Macho Man, I think.
100%.
Macho
Because-
Man agreed with you.
Yeah, and
He did, and he shows that later.
I mean, if Vince could have thought about the future, we could have had that Randy Savage rap album on WWE
Whoa.
as a commercial.
He could have had a track on WWE Aggression. Remember that?
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
He could have been Bonesaw. He could have
Bonesaws,
actually. Well, that's
baby.
actually how you turn. I think that's how you turn Macho Man heel. That's the only way to do it. He actually just kills the character of Macho
I got
Man
3
and, just
minutes with you. Yeah.
and he just becomes Bonesaw, and then they just tie that into the Spider-Man movie. And then he's a Spider-Man villain, so you have to hate him.
We could have had Macho Man versus Rey Mysterio in a Spider-Man outfit. We could have had that. Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. But no, like I've been down this whole rabbit hole before, thinking about like, man, Macho Man could have had so much of a better career in WWF than what he did. And he had a good one. He had a really good one. But I feel like he could have had more. And just because Vince was obsessed with Hogan and then at this point in time, it's like he just didn't see Macho Man as a full-time wrestler anymore. He wanted him to be like Babe Ruth or like, a retired epic baseball player or some shit. That's kind of how he saw him for some reason.
Yeah. And to be fair, I've heard this argument before about other wrestlers, and the comparison I think of more modern or in more modern times this fits for is Daniel Bryan. Like Vince really did not want Daniel Bryan to return to the ring.
Yeah.
And then when he did, he really like throttled what he was allowed to do. And he's actually been interviewed before, and he said it. It's like, Vince and I have a great relationship. I see him as a father figure. I really think that he doesn't want me to wrestle because he doesn't want me to get hurt. But I do this because I love it, not because I need to. And that's why he ultimately left to go to AEW, because he still wants to wrestle.
Yeah, that's why he had Brian take like extensive tests, like after every match he always had. That's how serious he was about it.
Yeah, I think Macho Man was kind of the same way in some. I know it's not the exact same thing, like the neck injury and stuff, or the concussion injury and stuff. But I really think that it was something similar to that. Yeah. I think it's also kind of similar to why Shawn Michaels gets a lot of the treatment that he does during the 90s. Like in any other setting or company, Shawn Michaels would have been fired so much fucking sooner than he was, and they would have not given him a second and third and fourth chance. But Vince lets him go, and there's been interviews of that of where it's because Vince saw him as a son, like he related to him a lot, and I think he gets attached to certain people when he meets them, and that can be a good or bad thing. And so, I mean, again, I'm actually saying something to me I think is in a way a compliment. Like, it's kind of a good thing that he's looking out for certain wrestlers, but it just clashes with their own interests if they want to be out there. And I think that's what happened.
That's why I always say Vince McMahon is a complex individual. It always kind of bugs me when people just want to like box him into he's an evil man. I'm like, no, he's not really evil. He's just a weird old man. He's got a lot of complex parts of his personality, because you can hear stories where he's like a complete asshole. Then you hear stories where he's like incredibly generous to people and shit and looks out for him.
Then he does weird shit like interviews Brian Pillman's wife after.
Yeah, he does shit like that, and then he does shit. There's like, I'm gonna take care of you and your family for life. Don't worry about it, and he does. Like, what the fuck? But no, Savage wastes no time at all, and he goes for Crush like during his entrance. He doesn't even get to complete his entrance. He just goes out to
I wanted to hear that butt rock. I didn't get to hear enough of it, and then Savage is out there beating his ass. Yeah.
The Crush grabs him though, and he does like inverted atomic drop and backbreaker.
Solid Crush, did he have an eye patch on?
No. He had like a face paint thing where it was like white and then like a black like streak. This is Majin shit. But
to be fair, I thought the same thing when I first saw it. I was like, is he wearing an eye patch? And then I realized it's just that weird paint that he's doing. Yeah.
I don't know why Crush did a backbreaker out in the floor. That was kind of weird, but like whatever. But Crush, the important part is right after that, Crush press slams Savage onto the security railing throat first. That's a big drop because that dude's like 6'6" or 6'7" or some shit.
He a big boy, brother.
And brother, he's a big boy. And then when he hits the fucking railing, he pins Savage out there and he beats him. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I got confused. I was like,
that's when the confusion set in at first.
I was like, wait, he lost? Is this a squash match?
He killed Randy Savage in like 30 seconds.
No, but the rules are when you pin him outside, you have 60 seconds to get back into the ring. And both competitors did the dramatic wait until 5 seconds left to get back into the ring.
Yeah. And I was like, this is weird. But then as the match was progressing, I was like, I kind of like this stipulation. It's like a weird little lemon twist on a Falls Count Anywhere, actually. I'm thinking maybe they explained this on TV and we just didn't see it because we didn't watch TV.
Yeah.
Because usually they do explain shit to you. When Savages get back in the ring at this point, Fuji hit him in the back of the flag, and yeah, he barely beat the count. It was like by 2 seconds. You have like 60 seconds to get back in the ring after you get pinned. And Crush starts attacking, and the referee is like preoccupied, making sure that Macho can still continue, and Majin Crush gets some Majin salt from Mr. Fuji to throw at Macho's face. But when Crush goes to him to pick him up and throw the salt in his face, it's funny too because he's like hiding it. He's like backing up and shit. It's kind of comedic. He goes to Macho and then he like goes, yeah, and he like causes it to throw it in his own face. And that's when Macho starts coming back. He's doing jabs. He jabs the piss out of him. Does a running elbow. And he does the axe handle. Best top rope axe handle ever. And then he does the elbow drop from the top and then I got confused here too because he like shoved Crush out on the floor. But what's he doing? Oh, and then he pinned
him outside. Yeah. And
I was like, okay. And then like the count starts and Crush is like not moving. It's like he died. And like Mr. Fuji's over there and he's like, get up. And he's just not moving. And then he goes off screen, and then he gets a pitcher of Majin water, and he pours it on Crush to revive him. Because that's what it revived him. He re-Majined him.
Is that like Fuji water, just Majin?
Majin water, Fuji water. Yeah, if we didn't have the Majin Crush bit, Fuji water is what you'd call it. Although I would argue you could also call it Korin's water, but you know, yeah, never mind. We'll keep going. You know.
I know. He barely moves though, and he makes it with 2 seconds. Just left, and then Savage fights him outside, and then he makes Crush suck Majin pole. He sucked pole, Majin pole, and he bounced his head off the stairs out there, and like sitting him out in the aisles, like between like the crowd, bits of the crowd there, and they fight some more. Crush goes super kick, and then he tries to power drive Macho Man, but Savage reverses it. Does a backdrop on the fucking Majin concrete floor. And then Savage drags him through like a door, and there's like some kind of like fucking hook and rope apparatus there. And he pins him and he like ties him up in it and hangs him upside down like a slab of beef and leaves. And
I gotta bring this up. Macho Man does not know how to tie a knot.
Yeah, that's
it's pretty clear. He has to like go back like that's that'll fucking work, and he shanghais him, and it immediately like collapses.
Yeah, he collapses. He goes, oh, you can hear Crush go, oh, brother, when he hit the fucking ground. But he doesn't beat the count, so Savage wins. And I was like, okay. I was like, that was kind of a weird but fun brawl, inoffensive. It's just there was like this weird adjustment with the rules. So I give it a 5.5 out of 10.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I just want to see Macho Man do a regular match, and I don't think we're ever gonna see it like that because whatever Vince is like, I care about you, bro. Let's make sure we do like this weird stipulation. So I gave it a 5.8 out of 10.
Oh, that's what I gave it. I had a 5.8. Yeah, I was entertained. I thought it was pretty decent. The only thing I really thought this match had going against it was the confusion of the rules.
Yeah.
But like you'd said, it's probably just something that was explained elsewhere. But Probably could have been handled a little better, but it was fun and just different. And you got to, I mean, give him credit. That finish is unique. Like, that is not a finish you're going to see in a typical wrestling card. So it's kind of neat. Yeah.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Todd Pettington with fucking Bill Clinton.
Oh, God.
God damn it. And then
I'll be
IRS was there, and I was like, fuck. And he starts talking about taxes, and I'm like, I started zoning out like immediately.
I just love him. Like, number one, he does kind of look like Bill Clinton. You could you could definitely tell, like, if you look at the face long enough, it starts to get like fake. You're just like, oh yeah, it's not him. But like, if you glance and like look at him, you're like, oh, it's fucking Bill Clinton.
Yeah, if it's like a kind of a far away shot, they do those sometimes with him. Like, God damn, is that Bill Clinton? And then he talks, and then you're like, is it? And then you hear him for a minute, and it's like, oh no, it's an imperson. It's just a really good impersonator. But so that's why I'll give him his credit. It's like Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton was at this show. He was at WrestleMania 10.
I just love his lines. He's like, I just love coming here. It's great, and I love wrestling. And
I love wrestling. I didn't come here for politics. NAFTA.
My favorite impersonation of Bill Clinton is Dave Chappelle's version, but I can't say what he says. But it's my favorite. He takes that little black baby. Oh, because that little baby. But he says another word, and it's way out there, but it's really, really funny. I was like, I don't think he ever said that, but if he did, he probably could get away with it. He was a charismatic motherfucker. So
I mean, there's some picture of him doing blackface back in his college days too. I mean, so you know.
I mean, didn't we all?
Yeah.
Did we?
I was in a fraternity. I'm not gonna say I did blackface, but there were faces.
Did you like do ritualistic sacrifices to Moloch or something? Because that's also what people do when they're in fraternities. Apparently,
there were a lot of costumes, and there were a lot of things I don't remember.
Okay,
I have a few scars. So
before like all the cancel culture stuff, I almost did Roddy Piper's half blackface as a Halloween costume.
Yeah. What sucks about that is people at first glance will see that and they will go like, "Well, you fucking racist," when that's not really what that was.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. I get why people have that reaction at first.
Yeah.
The irony of that is that his whole character, he's a Canadian that's playing a Scottish person. I know it's different than the blackface thing, but it had nothing to do with that anyway. Like you said, it was a Klansman thing. But whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, I zoned out when IRS started talking, but then they started showing the WWF Fan Fest thing, and that looked awesome. I wish I could have attended something like that back then. I would have lost my mind.
I always wanted to do that, and I always wanted to go to the restaurant that was in New York in the late 90s, 2000s.
Yeah, the WWF New York.
I'm assuming it's no longer there, but
yeah, it closed in the mid 2000s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you say you went there?
No, I went to a Toys R Us meetup, and Heartbreak Kid was there, and Sable was there, and
somebody I knew I thought said they went there and ate.
Oh, you talking about the restaurant? Yeah, I've been there. I thought you were talking about the Fan Fest. I was like, no, I didn't go to that. By the way, scary ass fucking clown on stilts in that fucking thing.
That giant clown. I'm like, man, I wish Matt Board was here. He could be that guy.
Why don't they get that guy to wrestle?
Yeah,
might
be more entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
They showed a quick thing of Macho Man celebrating at the nearby Pavilion Theater with fans. That was fucking awesome. What if you just went to a movie theater to watch that on closed circuit, and then Macho Man shows up and just goes right into the sea of people?
I don't know, but...
Yeah, dude, that's fucking nightmare fuel, dude. I'm not afraid of clowns. I don't have a fear of clowns, but it just looks creepy. It's because of the digital noise and shit. It's distorted.
Next Big Trouble, I'm just gonna fucking flash this and just get Andy's reaction.
You have to send me that picture. I want to do something with
that. But yeah, the restaurant. Number one, the food sucked.
Oh,
but the environment was great because literally, like, there was memorabilia. I remember they were giving out. They weren't like replica belts, but they were like good enough belts that they were giving out to the tables and shit. And I had a what do you call it? The 90s Attitude Era, not the winged eagle one, but the circle one that Stone Cold
I think they call that Big Eagle.
the big
Because
eagle,
it was technically a bigger belt than that one.
yeah. I got like a kid's version of that because it was for my birthday, one of my birthdays.
Nice.
I like that belt a lot too. It's not the classic Eagle,
Mhm.
but I don't think anything will ever beat that one. But
No.
That is the belt. Yeah, I always thought that restaurant was probably a lot like Planet Hollywood, but like their version of it.
yeah.
Like I don't know if you've ever been. I went. I've been one time, and the one time I was like, this food is really mediocre and way overpriced. But hey, that's a life-size Predator.
Yeah.
It's like really fucking cool. There's a lot of cool shit in here, but the food kind of sucks. But all right.
I guess it is the same thing. Yeah, they went out of business too.
Damn. Yeah.
Next we got Leilani Kai versus Alundra Blaze, who is the champion for the WWF Women's Title. And Jerry Lawler says Leilani Kai is a looker, and I was like, I don't know, man.
He's playing the heel thing.
I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I was like, I've seen her before. She wrestled in WWF in the 80s, and I was like, so I went to look her up, see how old she was. She was 34 years old at that point. Can you believe that? You ever see those memes where it's like, what happened? Did people just age faster like 30, 40 years ago or something?
Cigarettes.
Yeah, I think. And plus,
I'm not even gonna lie. Cigarettes just like, whew.
I think it's cigarettes and skin, and just the most basic form of skincare. Because people used to not really like moisturize their face ever, and like it's like I don't know. I guess people around our age started doing that more.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, to be fair, I take care of a lot of different families, and I meet a lot of parents that, bless their hearts, they've probably been through a lot of different things. But a good number of people still like smoke in this area. It's kind of hard to break. But then we also have a lot of people that like straight up just do meth and do a bunch of other shit. And so a very common thing that'll happen is like trying to guess the age of the person that we see because they have like no teeth and they have like 80 wrinkles and look like a leather purse. And then when you find out they're younger than you or they're under 30,
Jesus,
you're like, fuck me, you have a kid in middle school, you already have 4 other kids, and like, what are you doing with your life? What? Walk off the fucking 3rd grade stage of the spelling bee and popped a kid out. Jesus, slow down. We're not in Russia.
You're living too fast. Whoa, cocaine. That surprised me.
That got me. I was like, what?
With Jimmy Snuka face, damn. Yeah, like him, he aged super fast too.
Man,
he really did. Jimmy Snuka looked like a fucking Fiji fucking god in like the early 80s, and then like within 10 years' time, he looks like he turned 65.
He looks like, when you barbecue a hot dog and it just like it gets really, really wrinkly and shit.
The hot dog casing dehydrated and shit.
He looks like extra crispy Rick James. Rick James did the same shit. He got all kind of like puffy and weird. The skin looks like it was kind of slowly like falling off and melting off. Yeah, and it's exactly what he said. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Seriously, man. Look, if you've never seen Jimmy Snuka in his prime, like go find him. Like go find pictures.
God, he is ripped.
Go find Jimmy Snuka from like the late 70s or early 80s. He looks like a totally different guy. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, the stuff from the like, we keep bringing up Dark Side. I mean, it's appropriate, but the stuff they show there when they're like highlighting like his career when he was like at his peak. My God, he was a fucking specimen. Like
he was a beast.
Yeah, he was ripped. And then, but it's exactly that. Like, I mean, living hard and fast takes a toll on your body. It's just the way it is.
I have to like say this, like Alundra Blaze is. I felt like she was ahead of her time before like what we got now as women wrestlers, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think most people think that when they actually watch her matches, because in terms of like American women wrestlers, it wasn't always like super primitive, real basic, sloppy looking wrestling. Because there's times when you go back and you see like old women's matches. Sometimes they call them girls matches back then. Sometimes it was actually decent. Like it'd be a lot more than what you think it would be. But in her case, she's like the first bit of like what would become the modern style for women's wrestling in America anyway. In Japan, they were already doing that shit.
Mm-hmm.
They were already wrestling like how she wrestles more like the women do in Japan than what they were doing here.
Yeah.
Like the Joshis that like wrestled like in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Her style fits that. It's basically a female version of strong style. It's really what it is. It's rough too, man.
It's fucking
if you've
cool.
ever watched it is really cool. Like there's some badass fucking wrestling matches from that era. I always say her name. Is it Bull Nakano?
Bull Nakano, Miyami Toyota, I think, and like a couple of those girls, man.
Yeah, they hit fucking hard.
It was awesome.
I have a fun fact about Alundra Blaze. She actually trademarked her Medusa name, but Vince didn't want to pay her to use it at this year.
Oh, I didn't know that. She already had it? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, good for her. She was proactive in like protecting her gimmick.
Yeah, she probably invested in Glad trash bags too at some point.
Lol. I don't blame her. But I say Alundra looks like a damn star here. They have a decent match actually, like for the time period.
Yeah, I was like, piss break? No.
Because I didn't finish my thoughts on Leilani Kai. I've seen her wrestle before, and she's actually pretty good. It's weird. It's like you get surprised sometimes when you go back and watch some of the older women's wrestlers from before. There's like a weird period where it's like they don't really push them, but there's like girls that can wrestle. But yeah, it's like Leilani Kai's more. She's stronger and does more power moves, and Blaze does more speed and athletic moves and outmaneuvers her. She hits like cool Frankensteiner at some point during the match. Wasn't Scott Steiner, but it was very good. But she beats Kai with a very good bridging German suplex. I gave this 5.3 out of 10.
I gave it a 5.5 out of 10. I thought they did okay for the time slot of this WrestleMania.
I'm gonna bump it up to your score. Actually, I kind of talked myself into it.
Because I was surprised with Alundra Blaze. I really didn't watch until now, and I actually after this match I kind of watched some of her matches. Especially when she goes to WCW, I was like, she's way ahead of her time. Like, if she would have like wrestled now, like I think she could still like that'd be actually pretty cool. Trish Stratus and Alundra Blaze beating up on fucking what's her face again?
Becky?
Yeah, dude, I'm having like hemorrhaging in the brain. I'm like losing memory and stuff. But Becky Lynch and whoever Becky Lynch chooses to fight her.
You know what's funny about that? You said that is Alundra Blaze started like working her gimmick on Twitter, saying like Trish Stratus says everybody should be thanking her. She's like, everybody should be thanking me. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Actually, I was gonna say I saw something earlier today online. I guess someone was interviewing Ivory, and she was talking about Becky Lynch was on, like, her career has been really interesting. She was like an indie star, but wasn't really sure what to do, and she actually quit wrestling and like was done with it, and then came back to it, and then ended up coming over to be in WWE and everything. But at that time, she was friends with Ivory, and they talked about her coming then, and she was like, and Ivory basically kind of like told her, if you come over here with the wrestling we have, like, you're not going to get to wrestle the way you want to. It's not wrestling. Like, the only person that you're going to get to wrestle, if you wrestle Trish Stratus, she'll make sure that you get a good match. You'll get a good 10-minute match or a 15-minute match if they'll let it happen. But otherwise, it's not wrestling. So, and that was actually a pivoting point for her to decide not to move on, because she was like I think a stewardess on an airliner. So it's just interesting. Like we were talking about that, and she was looking forward to working with Trish, and now like we're like that was like 2006, I think, or something. So now almost 20 years later, she's getting to actually work with like this person she idolized. It's kind of interesting. We were all talking about it.
Hear me out. Hear me out. WWE, if you're listening, bring back Mandy Rose.
Please.
Push her, because she's doing her OnlyFans or whatever OnlyFans type of content that she's doing.
Fan time.
Yeah, make that her gimmick. Bring Ivory back, but she comes back as the right to censor.
Censor.
Oh,
The fucking alarms. No, I don't want this. PTSD.
And they just fucking they belittle her and say like
Oh, I'm out.
OnlyFans is wrong and stuff.
they're working this angle right now in NXT where they have this girl beating the shit out of the other girls, and she's always wearing like a mask, like a ski mask, and you can only her eyes are visible, and everybody's like wondering who it is. I kind of hope it's Mandy Rose. That's like low key. That's my thing because she kind of has a similar build, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I knew that was coming up. I'm not gonna lie, this is what you did. You told me you said rights to censor, and I was about to eat a pack of dry ramen. How my balls are that itchy?
Yeah, I gotta keep that weeaboo shit going, huh?
Oh,
You really got shit on me. No, actually, I'm gonna go heat up some rice because I don't know. So you fucked with me. I gotta eat. I gotta get carbs. I'm stressed now over the fucking alarms.
he stress burned carbs when you mentioned right to censor.
I gave this match 5.6. Thanks, asshole. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, like what I was saying though is like everybody's saying, "Oh, it's Nikita Lyons because she's been injured or something." She's not big enough to be Nikita Lyons, so sorry. But yeah, decent little match here. Next match was Men on a Mission with Oscar against the Quebecers for the. I didn't write that down for the tag titles.
Well, did you talk about the HBK interrupting Burt Reynolds and that blonde hair chick lady, Rhonda Shear?
Yeah, I have a thing about that. That's later. That's after the next two matches. Or no, that's after this tag match. Yeah, I wrote it down there. You almost time traveled.
Well, no, wasn't there like a backstage thing with HBK before?
Yeah,
this?
No, it was after this match.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. Am I crazy? Hang on a second. Oh no, I wrote it here. Yeah, never mind. Sorry. It's like this weird shit happened where they did the entrances first, and then they did Men on Mission's entrance, and then they transitioned to that backstage shit. That's what threw me off. My bad. You were right.
Okay.
Yeah. So like Men on a Mission are rapping to the ring, and yeah, they cut backstage, and there's like this busty blonde girl named Rhonda Shear. And Shawn Michaels is there. And it's really funny because like Petting Zoo is finally getting to talk to like a real woman or something. That's what it comes off like. And he's like, it looks like he's overwhelmed. I still think it's hilarious, that story I found out about how she had to drive Sonny around everywhere and she made him very uncomfortable. It's like, what a goddamn square. Like, yeah, and Shawn cuts in and kind of takes over. She's like, oh, Shawn. She's like the doing the thing. And then like Burt Reynolds shows up and steals Shawn's thunder. And she's like, Burt Reynolds, because like Rhonda clings to Burt, sensing his higher status and fatter wallet. Like that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then Shawn's like, hey, what the hell, Burt? And then Burt's like, go shave your chest. Which is actually pretty fucking funny. And then Shawn's like, oh, what do you got in there? Because he's wearing like a leather jacket or some shit, and he unzips his jacket. And then Burt's like, hey now. It was actually a pretty good little celebrity bit there.
Yeah, did Burt do any more like WWE stuff? Because like I enjoyed like later when he gets into the ring, like I was like, this is awesome. Like they need more of him.
I think Burt was legitimately a wrestling fan, so that's part of the reason why he came off it. You can always tell, like when the celebrity people actually like it, and it helps that Burt's like just a classic, movie star, high charisma guy. That's just like that. That's who he is. But I was like, what a strange segment. and then I went down this rabbit hole because I was like, who the fuck is Rhonda Shear? They said something about Up All Night, and I looked her up, and apparently it was like this B movie show that they'd run late night on Friday and Saturday nights on USA, and Gilbert Gottfried was on it too.
Oh,
So
God.
you'd have Gilbert Gottfried and Rhonda Shear hosting it, and they'd play stuff like the Toxic Avenger and like the Friday the 13th movies and shit. And I'm like, honestly, that sounds pretty fucking rad. Like, I probably would have watched that show, but I wasn't old enough, and I didn't know by the time I was old enough about shit like that. My taste probably still wasn't really there yet, but I would have watched the shit out of that. like later on in my life. Because the other thing, I looked it up. Rhonda Shear is like, her whole bit on that was like, I'm a busty hot chick. Look at me. She's always wearing like revealing clothing, doing double entendres, but then she'd hit you with like movie stuff all of a sudden. It was kind of like Elvira minus the horror theme.
Mm-hmm. I think her body's great. I think this is me being fashionable. I get it. That's like the 80s and early 90s hair, and I'm just like, just fucking straighten it. What the fuck you doing? And like, the makeup is way too much. But yeah, she's hot. Hair. Yeah, she's hot though.
We were talking about Rhonda Shear and Burt Reynolds.
Yeah,
Chaz.
I've been listening. I heard the whole thing. It was good.
Okay.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I also really liked the shave your chest.
It was great.
Yeah, anything that Burt Reynolds was involved in with this was great, which was like the opposite of Donnie Wahlberg, which felt very like forced and like, hey, you need to do this for good publicity because your brother's been committing hate crimes recently.
By the way, did you? This is the first time I'm ever hearing and knowing that Donnie Wahlberg was the fucking founder of New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? They said the guy who hosts this KFM radio, whatever the fuck. I'm like, why aren't you saying he's from the New Kids on the Block? So everybody fucking knows him from.
Mm-hmm. They're just trying to get him away from his brother.
Yeah, is either that or he's trying to distance himself from it. But
Yeah.
So I didn't know about any of that stuff though.
Mm-hmm.
But so then we come back to the ring and the Mounties are there, and I'm just gonna say it, the Canadian lawmen jump the black guys, the urban youth from behind. The Canadian police attack them from behind. They start beating up.
Damn, it's a tale as old as time, isn't it?
I'm just funny. But
I know, me too.
Mo and Mabel clear the ring, and it gets down to like Pierre
Maple
and Mo.
Harbor.
Yeah, Pearl Harbor them. Canadian Pearl Harbor. Mo tags Mabel off of a drop toe hold, and then Mabel drops the fat man leg drop.
Is it possible to do a Canadian destroyer backwards and call it the Canadian Pearl Harbor?
What would that be?
The Canadian Pearl Harbor.
But like, how does that move work?
Death.
Do you kill yourself? Are you pile driving yourself? Like, what the fuck?
It looks like one of those level 7 Tekken submissions.
What were you gonna say, Dubs? You were gonna say something.
I just thought of like a Stretch Armstrong just trying to like put his body back together after doing a Canadian Pearl Harbor.
The fuck? Oh man, that's Canadian Destroyer is so weird.
Dude, I thought Mabel killed a guy after his leg drop.
Yeah, that's why I love Mabel's leg drop.
Yeah.
Because it looks like death. And Yoko does it too, but you know he probably protects better. I still remember the Kevin Nash story where he fucking almost broke his back. And God damn it, Mabel! You can very clearly hear him yell, "What the fuck? I told you not to do that!" Like in the middle of the match.
I watched that not too long ago. The King of the Ring.
Yeah,
or it was after King of the Ring.
Yeah.
I can't remember what match or if it's pay-per-view or whatever, but
yeah, it's WrestleMania.
Is it WrestleMania? It is very loud. He very loudly exclaims, "What the fuck!"
Yeah, he was pissed. Let's see. Mo and Mabel both do fat guy elbow drops after that fat guy leg drop. And then King is killing me with these fat guy jokes while this match is going on. He's like, they had to baptize Mabel at SeaWorld. God damn it. And then he said, like, they want to pin the smaller guy because if you try to pin Mabel, he's so fat your ears will pop. God damn.
It's like he's a mountain and shit.
I know.
I got a question for you guys. Do you
Okay.
think Man on a Mission was too green for this match, for this stage too?
No, because Mo clearly knows how to work. If you watch him, he seems to be a pretty decent wrestler, actually. Mabel is the one that seems kind of green right now. But because he's just like a big, giant, fat guy, he doesn't have to do much. He can just do his big fat guy moves. And like, because he's so big, anything that he does that looks simple will look devastating. A fucking elbow drop from Mabel looks like it would kill you.
Mm-hmm.
He does some of my favorite moves ever is like when he does like a Samoan drop or like that fucking sidewalk slam because the ring goes woof when he hits it and there's like this massive sound. It's like shit. Pin him, it's over. King keeps taking shots at Alundra Blaze, saying that he called her a horse and saying she was ugly. I'm like, what the fuck? Just bring that up. The only horse is Ref Aubrey.
Oh god.
Nay.
Oh my god.
That horse about to put her blinders on. She's gonna have a wrestling match.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's Jeff Jarrett and his wife versus who's gonna be the male?
Oh, it's a 6-man.
Oh
It's
shit.
Jeff Jarrett and his wife and Jay Lethal versus
FTR.
no, Mark Briscoe, Daddy Briscoe.
What?
Yeah, his dad, the old
Papa
man
Briscoe
Briscoe.
is awesome though.
Yeah, Papa Briscoe. Yeah, and Aubrey Edwards. Yeah, that this weird angle where she's gotten involved in, or Jeff Jarrett's wife's gotten involved. Karen, she's gotten involved and hit Aubrey, and they've come to blows, and yeah.
Dude, that guitar
That's the thing
shot
that's
was
gonna
lame, like, when she did it against Aubrey and all that stuff, because Aubrey looked scared that she was taking a guitar shot and like she pulled back.
Are you talking about the one at the pay-per-view, or did she try to do it to her again?
No, at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I found out she hit her with the fucking hard side of the guitar. She didn't hit her with the right part of it.
Oh,
That explains it. It explains why when I saw her eyes flash, and you could see she's looking back at that time that she saw Daniel Bryan retire, and she started crying on TV.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
That's what that's at least that's what some expert analysis led me to believe. And I didn't see the footage, but like I saw like a bad Twitter version of it, and I was like, damn, that looked kind of rough. Anyway, Quebecers do impressive double team shit and to Mo, where like Pierre threw Mo outside and tagged Jacques, and then he backdrops Jacques outside to the floor onto Mo. And I'm like, what is this space age shit they're doing here? And then Jacques went for a top rope leg drop and missed and landed directly on his ass. And I was like, man, that could not have felt good.
Hulk Hogan is fucking wincing right now in his
brother,
hot tub.
His back from his 3-foot leg drop. Jacques jumped fucking 12 feet in the air and landed directly on his ass. Mo and Mabel kill the Quebecers. Pierre specifically with their double team move where two fat guys just land on you at once. That's the double team move. Mabel picks you up. Mo lands on Mabel and you get killed. You get crushed by like 800 plus pounds of fucking shit.
Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor. Is this the urban youth Pearl Harbor?
Harlem Harbor.
Harlem Harbor.
That's what I was going to say. Beat me to it. That's good.
Isn't that what Booker T and Stevie Ray do? Is that the Tower in Inferno? Is that the Heat Seeker?
Should be.
I mean, like, I can't wait to see them get emancipated and see their shit, man. It's going to be amazing.
You almost killed me. God damn it. It took a second for emancipated to click, and I was like, fuck.
It's true though. They're like in the doghouse now, right? Because they're just doing lame shit.
I mean, you're not wrong, yeah. And
When
what
they're
it is.
free, when they're freed from that, brother, it's going to be amazing.
freed from their bondage. I can't wait. They're
Pierre-
so fucking good. I fucking love Harlem Heat.
Free from
Yeah.
Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
See, Pierre ends up on the floor and he gets hit by the Pearl Harbor move, and then it turns into chaos. And then Johnny Polo pulls Jacques out of the ring, and then like the bell rings because Pierre got counted out, and then Men on a Mission win, but they don't get titles.
Well,
Or
no,
do they?
They steal it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just have them, and then the Quebecers just leave, and I'm like, what happened?
I thought that was so weird, and I wonder if they're gonna do an angle where they have the belts and they'd be like, "We won.
We
We
got your
talking-
belts.
Yeah.
So they stole from the police.
Yes.
See, what is this shit, man? I mean, they attacked him from behind first. I guess they threw the first stone.
Fuck the police coming from the underground.
So this
I'm
match
not
was
finishing
okay.
ref.
I thought this match was okay up until like the weird ending and the count out shit and the confusion.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Like I said, I thought Mabel was very green. But the Canadian police did fine fighting crime, I guess. I don't know.
They got fought off.
Yeah.
I have our answer. Apparently, this whole thing was like a weird botch. It wasn't supposed to be the way it was, and they walked off. So the whole thing was like a total mishap that I guess they got yelled at backstage. And then because it all happened and on TV or pay-per-view, and it was obvious, they had to make an angle out of it. So the WrestleMania happened on the 20th, the 29th, at a house show in London, of all places. Men on a Mission officially beat them for the titles.
Oh, so they were supposed to win.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it was a fuck up. Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't supposed to be counted out. Yeah. It was supposed to. They were supposed to win them, and it got clusterfucked.
So did the referee fuck up?
I have no idea. I don't know what happened.
Maybe they were so hurt from like fucking fat dudes crushing them. They just wanted to be like on the outside.
Yeah, it doesn't explain what happened. It just says that there was a mishap, and that Men on a Mission were supposed to win the belts, which is why they awkwardly leave with them despite not actually winning the titles.
Okay.
Yeah, so English is an answer. I'm glad there was some closure on it and I got that just from simply Googling, did Men on a Mission ever win the WWF tag titles? And
Wow.
then immediately explain it, and then like it's that this whole thing, it's on a list of like the largest total accidental wrestling title changes.
Oops.
So there you go. Yeah, fun facts. Yeah.
I think it was 4.7 out of 10. What'd you guys think?
I had it at just a 5 because I was like, but I agree with you. It should be like a 4.8 for me.
It got like real chaotic at the end, and then like the ending was fucking bad. So
Yeah, I gave it a 4.4. I was not a fan of the ending because it was confusing. I'm a little more forgiving now because knowing it sounds like it was a botch, but it really fucks up things because they have followed up with another match that shouldn't have ended that way, which we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just sour. Like so far, like nothing's ended in something overly hokey. So because this one does, and it's confusing, and then you get the next match that does, things are getting a little weird.
You get a little strange.
A little dicey.
The fuck is Cornette wearing?
An amazing outfit. Ron Shear comes out with Donnie Wahlberg, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Mark Wahlberg's brother. And then like they come out to this weird mid-90s JRPG in music or something. Like that's what it sounds like. Like, what the fuck is this music? Like,
and it's like Kelly from fucking 90210, which nobody gave a shit about.
Nobody fuck. I like how that's how they introduced her. They're like Kelly from 90210, and then they gave her real name or something.
Yeah.
It's like you didn't quite make it yet, did you? But Ron, now that I know what Rhonda's thing is, she's like the guest timekeeper, and she's like in full gimmick. She's acting like she doesn't know how this works or anything. Do I hit the hammer on the bell? It just got a laugh out of me. Lex Luger versus Yokozuna with Jim Cornette, Mr. Fuji for the world title with special guest referee of Mr. Perfect. And yeah, you said it first. What's Jim Cornette wearing? And I say it's incredible. It's like Sergeant Pepper's jacket, but he's got like sparkling gold pants and a bow tie.
Dude, he looks like he's about to go down to the Bubble Bowl and lead SpongeBob and that marching band to play in the halftime show.
Mhm.
And I mean that with like the most most respect, rather, not disrespect. It is fucking glorious. That fucking jacket.
He was like the master of like wearing obnoxious, weird outfits for like a manager, I think.
It's 101.
He always wore like real loud, weird ass colors.
It's wrestling 101, man. Wear something that just makes you stick out like a sore fucking thumb, especially if you want people to not like you.
I think the best thing he ever did though was that time he wore like an all white suit. Like it's like something you would have seen in fucking Dumb and Dumber, Harry and Lloyd wearing. And then like this is when they was feuding with like Paul Heyman and the two Midnight Expresses were fighting each other. And Paul Heyman hit him in the head with his 80s cell phone, which is like a giant fucking brick. I can't remember if Cornette said it. He busted him open hard way, or he got a little too much when he went to the well.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, his suit was like covered in blood.
Oh, God.
He had like a white suit, and it's like he bled a gusher all over that shit.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
WrestleMania whites.
Let's see. Mr. Perfect's referee outfit is also great. He said, black pants, fuck you, straight stripes.
Yep.
And Lex Luger has new entrance music. No more weird patriotic shit. I'm not saying patriotism is bad. I just thought it's kind of like after a while, it's like, why does he still come out like that? You know?
Why does he have fucky endings?
I don't. We'll get into it. Yeah.
Even in WCW, like it's just weird endings where it just like it has to be unique.
Well, yeah, it seemed like Lex had like a cloud that hanged over him in the 90s, I guess. But,
I wonder, and again, I don't know how much of this has to do with his own backstage stuff too. I mean, how many times have we heard of people that, whether it's the booking that put them into a corner, or if it's the wrestler themselves that refuse to lay down for someone, like I don't know how much of it is one versus the other here. Like how many times is it that he is worried about his own reputation being tarnished by just losing a whole bunch, but clearly Vince doesn't believe in him to be the guy. So the only way to not come out and him lose a bunch is for him to win in ways where he doesn't actually win, or to lose in like even less meaningful ways. Like it's just dumb. It's frustrating. Like it's not supposed to make sense, right? Like we're just trying to apply logic to something that doesn't make any sense.
yeah, like I don't know about Lex being difficult to work with.
And I don't either. Not that I have anything to base that on, by the way. I'm just saying in general, like that comes up. So I just wonder if like was that something that played into it? Was this all just like Vince like having a toy and then giving up on it?
I think
halfway?
that's what it was, because like I was getting ready to say that thing about maybe Lex was difficult to work with. So far I've never heard anybody say that about him. It was just that he comes off kind of aloof backstage. It would be the thing. And we've been into that before, where he's kind of like, it was revealed, he's kind of like an introvert. And that comes up. Sometimes introverted people can come off as like real smug or conceited, and they don't mean to.
Mm-hmm.
It's relatable to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all wacky and shit on here, but that's because I'm friends with you guys. If I don't know you, I can really come off that way.
Yeah. No, I get that. I can come off in some ways where I try to be really polite if I'm around people I don't know. Like I code switch a lot at work. Like it's just one of those things. Like you got to pick and choose your battles in the environment you're in. But then I'm still a fairly blunt person. So then if I don't know somebody and they don't know that, or they're getting to know me and I'm starting to be sarcastic, it's a weird terrain. So I get a lot of feedback from people. They're like, yeah, people kind of think you're an asshole, or they think that you're like really arrogant about something. What? I was like, what did I do? Huh? And then it's like, oh no, I was kidding. That was all sarcasm. I don't mean that.
I just say I'm
Full
autistic.
of self-doubt.
I don't understand social cues.
I mean, I guess, yeah, sure. It was like I'm somewhere on the spectrum of something, but it's that. So I can relate to that. I mean, at this point in time, at least, I don't think he had any major problems as far as like his personal demons. Like, I mean, yeah, wrestling is wrestling, but like he didn't get hard into shit until like the later '90s, whenever the stuff happened with Miss Elizabeth and stuff. So that's WCW.
And until Super Bowl Saturdays in small shirts.
Oh my god, poor Lex. My
That's
point though was
aftermath.
like when I learned he was kind of like an introvert guy, I was like, oh, I can kind of relate to him a little bit more now. I get that feel where sometimes people mistake you. But anyway. Lex is fired up and he's throwing bombs and he hits a clothesline and then he goes for another, but Yoko flattens him with his own clothesline. And then Yoko does a fat guy elbow drop, but Lex dodges it because again, Yoko's in his elbow drop would probably kill you.
And it's really slow.
I mean, that's a big guy. He's got to like wind up for that and leap in the air. So, and then Lex is coming back and he throws more bombs, and then he goes for a top rope crossbody. I've never seen him do that before, and he gets a 2. And I'm like, well, okay. And then Lex, he goes for, I'm sorry, he hits the ropes, and he goes, ah! And he like does like a leaping elbow drop, like he puts all of his shit into it and just jumps as high as he can and screams. And I start laughing. I'm like, yes. Oh, he put so much of himself into that one elbow drop.
Mm-hmm.
I love the battle cries.
Luger tries to body slam Yoko, but he just collapses and Yoko flattens him. And then Yoko's in control. And he has the authority to remove the turnbuckle pad, by the way. And he's working Luger over, and then he hits it. He puts on the Asiatic nerve hold. And then a sign goes up that says Lex loser, like right at that moment. I was like, fuck. Like
I didn't see that. That's great.
Foreshadowing. But then he's working him in the Asiatic nerve hold for a while. And then at some point, Yoko just starts hammering the fucking shit out of him. Like he's John Henry or some shit, driving fucking spikes.
Dude, E-Honda mode turns on at this point.
That's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
And Lex tries to fight back, but Yoko just beats him down again and then does the Asiatic nerve hold again. And then Lex's selling is like kind of iffy when he's in the hold because sometimes he's like, and then sometimes he just looks like he's like, what do I do next? Or something. But,
well, anytime he's in a long hold like that, especially if it's anything he's going to break, he oversells the shit out of the shaking.
Yeah.
Are you fucking seizing? Calm down. Like we get it.
He's trying to Hulk up, brother.
Well, there's a reason why Vince gave up on you. Why don't you stop that?
Activating his steroid glands.
Here, I got to shake to get the shark cartilage to activate.
Shark cartilage. He's got so much testosterone. That's why he did the screaming elbow drop.
You know, he probably is like trying to hide his farts, so he just screams out loud.
What?
He's like shitting his pants.
It's like protein farts. Yeah, I think I get what you're saying.
IcoPro farts.
You gotta want it. Mr. Perfect. I heard a story about IcoPro. Okay, this is on topic because Mr. Perfect's in this match. In Brett's book, he was talking about the IcoPro shit, and he said like he got some of it for free, and it tasted terrible, and he never used it. And he was talking to Mr. Perfect about it one day, and he's like, "Yeah, I gave it all to my son, Joe." And he's like, it gave him the shits for like 3 days. So we threw it away. So you might be onto something there.
Hey, you got to balance that shit out, man. If you take all that on and you don't have a way to balance your diet, it will run fucking through you. Not just IcoPro, any of that like heavy creatine protein stuff, you will shitting your brains out.
Whew.
You will get the runs. It's a fun time. I don't miss any of that.
I'll keep that in mind in the future.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Lots of water.
Let's see. Lex starts coming back because he slams Yoko's head into the exposed turnbuckle that was revealed earlier, so it came back into play. And then Lex does some clotheslines, body slams Yokozuna, and then he hits the running forearm and he nails it. And then Cornette gets on the ropes and tries to interfere, and then Mr. Fuji does it. But Lex Luger he grabs Cornette, punches him, and he takes an excellent bump. And then Fuji collapses because he just can't bump anymore. He's just so crippled up from working previously. And then Luger's covering Yokozuna, and Mr. Perfect just stands there and looks at the managers. And it's like he's trying to revive the managers, and he's ignoring the pin. And then Luger's like, hey! And, and he's just like, oh, okay. And he's going to start counting. And then he looks at them again and fucks with them again. And Luger's like, what are you doing? And he pushes him. And then Perfect's like, fuck you. And he calls for the bell to get rang, and he got disqualified. Yokozuna retains.
Is this turning into a feud between Lex and Perfect? Is that why this was done?
I hope so, because at least you can get a goddamn decent match, maybe. But like, as far as I'm concerned, this buried Mr. Perfect and Lex Luger.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like both of them. It made Mr. Perfect look fucking stupid, because this guy's supposed to be like a really savvy, like ring general cheater motherfucker. And like, he's acting like a total dumbass in like a special guest referee spot. Like, why the fuck would he care if there's dead carcasses laying in the ring when there's a pin? Like,
Yeah.
they were dead. They're managers.
Like at that point, just be the blatant dickhead and just like do the 3 count, and then when you get to 3, don't count it, and then look at him and flip him off.
Oh, see, that would have been better. That would have been way better.
That's the way to do it. Like in all fairness, it's something I noticed in this match this time around that I didn't pay attention to before is like you said, he just let Yokozuna fuck with the turnbuckle pad. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's actually a pretty dead giveaway that he's gonna fuck with something later. I don't know, for whatever reason, I just never thought about that, but it's because he's playing that blatantly obvious, I'm a really bad ref. I'm obviously not doing my job and neglecting it because I'm intentionally trying to sabotage the match. But at that point, don't do that. Like, actually, you should stick right to it. And then when when it matters the most, that's when you look at him last second and say, "Fuck you, buddy." And then when he gets mad,
I hate but love at the same time that you had such an easier fucking solution to this, because it's like, when this happened, I was like, this was the best idea they could come up with. And I didn't really think about it much more after that. I was just like so blown away by how fucking awful it was.
Or they could have.
You hate it more. I didn't think about it either. That was fucking right off the cuff from us sitting here talking.
God damn, I wish you were there.
I mean, I'm not a genius. I'm not saying, it's just like, it didn't take very fucking much to figure out how to do this. Fucking 2 hamsters wrote this on a fucking paper napkin, apparently.
Or they could have done where he was like looking at the managers and like kind of like pulls him a little, like aggressively, like, what are you doing? And then he goes, why are you touching me? You're hitting the ref, ring the bell. And
Or like, what if Mr. Perfect just glommed him? Like, he just hit him with a move, and then, I don't know, Perfect plex him or some shit.
Yeah, like that actually makes more sense too. Like, actually, you know what? Fucking Yokozuna's big as shit. If Yokozuna's out, just fucking take Lex out, roll Yokozuna on top of him, and pin him, and that's that. Like, you're getting the same. If anything, you're getting way more heat that way, and it's justifiable. Like you said, it just buries both of them, because Perfect looks like an idiot and an asshole. You can clearly tell he doesn't like it either, because he gets the fuck out of that ring. The moment he rings, he storms the fuck out of there.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, man, he was trying not to get any of that shit on him. He's like, I gotta get out of here. This is fucking awful.
He channeled his Sid Vicious. He said, "Fuck this." He got the fuck out of there, and Lex just looks like an idiot again. Like, it's so bad.
I feel bad for him too, because it's like, again, this isn't his fault. They just came up with a really shit fucking finish to make him look dumb and like incapable of winning again. Yeah,
no, he looks really bad. And what also sucks is, like, outside of the ending, which, again, the spot we talked about is a little weird, but if they'd have done the ending right, it would have actually fit with it. This is actually a pretty good match.
I know. Like, it was approaching, like, this is pretty good. It's above average kind of match for me. And
yeah, I'm like in that 6.5 to 7 in terms of that up to the point of the finish, but then that finish is like 3 at best.
Fuck.
It's terrible, man.
We weren't the only ones thinking that. That whole arena was chanting bullshit very loudly.
And Vince brought it up.
Yeah, fans telling us they're not pleased with this. Yeah, they're
thing,
pleased with you, Vince. You idiot! You did this.
that's one of the bad things about Vince is like he fucking believes in that shit where it's like I got a reaction that means it did something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Not how that works.
Unfortunately, I don't think Luger ever recovers from this after this. He's kind of just like flapping out in the wind for like the rest of the time he's there.
Yeah, this is nail in the coffin and like he again, like you said, he just kind of flounders about on the roster for another year or so, and then he shows up in that epic Nitro debut.
Hell yeah, with a sweet mullet.
It is a sweet ass moment. It is really cool that they do that. Like they pull him over, but then it's like, wait, who'd you pull over? Not that guy. They gave up on that loser twice. That's what I would be thinking if I had been following and not been a child. I'd been watching this with the consistent long term memory and seeing this. I'm like, well, I don't give a shit about Lex Luger. Like he looks cool right now, but I saw what Vince did to him. He looked like a fucking fool.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard. I mean, same thing with Perfect. Like Kurt Hennig's career never recovers from this. He has that very, very small glance of redemption. In the early 2000s, there with Brock Lesnar, and then the plane ride from hell happens, and he gets fired, and then shortly after that, he passes away. It's really tragic. Yeah, Kurt Hennig, man.
That backstage shit was lame. I did not like it because Lex looks like a douchebag. And Kurt Hennig is like, I gotta explain this shit on camera now. Fuck.
I know, right?
So, what do you have any other thoughts for this one besides what we got into?
I'm giving this a 4 out of 10 because it was like a 6 out of 10 for me, and then the ending just shits it. So 4 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. What you, Chaz?
I gave it a 4.8. I was very forgiving because it is a long match, and it's only the last minute of the match or less that actually get really fucky and ruin everything. But it's bad enough to make it below average because I thought they did a pretty good job. Otherwise, that was decent. That's so bad for the guys.
I gave it a 4.4. I tried to. Generally, I'm not somebody that'll react, penalize really harshly if there is a kind of a shit finish for a match or something. Depends on what happens in the shit finish, usually too. Some people I hate countouts or whatever, but the count out in the previous match was a fuck up. So that's different. But in this case, it was just awful. It was just a really bad finish. And we instantly came up with something way better than that without much effort at all.
Yeah, I came up with 2 alternatives that were instantly better. It didn't even take 2 minutes. I've had 2 beers, and I just filled my belly with a bunch of reheated rice. It's probably going to give me diarrhea. I am in no shape to make decisions.
I fucking feel like somebody between Vince McMahon, fucking Pat Patterson, Blackjack Lanza, fucking all those guys back there should have been able to come up with a better goddamn finish somehow.
Too busy thinking about other shit in the card. That's the problem. You get lost in the shuffle.
I guess.
It's really shitty though too because we're talking about a WWF Championship match getting lost in the shuffle. That should not be happening. Your top title is what's getting lost in the shuffle. It's great that you have a plan for it later on in the show, but still. Oh well.
Dubs brought up the little segment with Petting Zoo and Perfect and Luger yelling, so not really much to get into there.
Yeah,
basically take another bite of that shit sandwich on live TV.
Yeah, just to give clarification what happened, Mr. Perfect's I am a referee. I got hit. I rang the bell. Don't hit the referee. And then Lex Luger comes fucking mad and shit and yelling. He's he called him a piece of shit without calling him a piece of shit.
I think Perfect also said managers belong outside the ring. You brought them inside the ring. That was something that happened. But again, this is coming from Mr. Perfect. So it feels kind of bullshit. If somebody Bob Backlund said that, I don't know why Bob Backlund would be the special guest referee for this movie. I would buy it 100% that he would say shit like that and believe it. Or Brett.
Bob Backlund's out there in fucking corduroy stripes.
God forbid Bret Hart becomes special guest referee. I would buy Bret Hart saying that. There you go. Not
yeah.
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see. We go back to the ring, and Harvey Whippleman's out there with Howard Finkel, who's getting ready to introduce Whippleman. But then Harvey snatches the microphone from Fink and calls him a fat, big-eared, monkey-faced, banana-nosed New York Yankee. And I'm like, yeah, fuck Yankees. Sorry, Dubs.
I don't like the Yankees either. I like the Mets, so you're fine.
I think he meant Yankee because he was like from the north, though.
Yeah, he was talking more like the South to Rise Again.
It's okay. It's okay, brother. I don't mind that you're a Yankee. But then he rips Fink's suit off, or some of it, not all of it. And then Fink shoves Harvey down, which got a pretty big pop, actually. And then Adam Bomb comes out, and he's like grabbing Fink by the collar, like he's gonna fucking wad him up, and I don't know, make a spit wad out of him. And Earthquake comes out and stops him, and a match starts. Earthquake versus Adam Bomb with Harvey Whippleman, and then like
fucking NXT booking, fucking WrestleMania 10.
They was ahead of their time. Fucking Earthquake power slams Adam Bomb, and then hits the Earthquake for 3 and killed him. Squash, and I was
is this punishment? Did Adam Bomb do something that he would get a squash at a WrestleMania?
Adam Bomb also fucked Stephanie McMahon. That's what happened.
That poor girl's just getting fucking ran through, but
she got the fucking the big beef bukkake.
She got the nuclear waste.
Oh.
But no.
She came out and one titty is bigger than the other titty, and she's like, "Oh, my left tit fall out."
Oh,
They fall out the bra. Ah, damn! I can't help it. That's so terrible. I'm done.
I guess they felt like they had to do something to get the crowd back on track after that fucking finish. That's why I think this was like a squash. It was just like, Earthquake, and then like, oh, he killed him. This is a squash, so I don't got anything to say about that.
Yeah, it's carny squash.
Speaking of like
mustard bottle,
that meme about like did people age differently before? Can you believe Earthquake is 30 years old here?
He looks like he has a 30-year-old son.
He's well, somebody said like Earthquake was like 29 when he did that match with Jake Roberts. I'm like, what? He looks like he's 40. Just yeah, Earthquake was 30, brother. Wow. Then we get backstage with Todd Pettigrew with Yokozuna, and then Cornette shows up, and he calls Todd his namesake, Pettigrew, and this is the origin of it. Because Cornette just on podcasts always calls him Pettigrew when he's referring to him, and I just think he doesn't like him because he thinks he's a weird square, and he's right according to like every story I've ever fucking heard about the guy.
He's just a boring nerd. Yeah.
He's just a weird, boring nerd with like the earring on. That's like that was a signal in like the early 90s. He was signaling, but he was straight. I don't know, man.
Dude, Yokozuna looked like he did the bonus stage with the car in fucking Street Fighter. And he's so fucking sweaty.
I love that. I love this because Cornette just gets very good. Like, shut up, Pettigrew, listen. And he cuts like a fucking great promo about like how like Bret Hart is like the blood in the water and Yokozuna is the fucking shark and shit. And then Yoko's like, and he's like looking right at the camera and it's like zooming in on his face.
They love that fucking zoom. They love it when Cornette is like just angry rant, and then they just look at Yoko's face close up, like uncomfortably close. It's good.
It was great.
They're trying to get his fucking nose snarl to see if he's smelling fucking catering from fucking down the hall or something.
He's probably trying to tell if Todd Pettigrew's earring is a signal for if he wants to smoke Newports or if he wants to get fucked in the back alley.
He fucking knows that fucking Todd Pettigrew fucking smokes Virginia Slims.
But I won't say anything if you get me some KFC. That's probably a real conversation at some point.
That's what happened so hard. They sent him to the fucking place.
The dude lost Clank, you know the story. Do you know about that story, Dubs?
No, but it sounds funny.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Yoko basically, Yoko's a big boy. Well, he got bigger. He got too big to wrestle. The weight commission, like certain states have like actual committees or commissions where you have to have a license to wrestle. They would not allow him to wrestle because he was physically unfit. So they told him, Yoko, buddy, you're too big. You have to lose weight. So they sent him to that clinic. I can't remember. You said that Duke clinic for weight loss or something.
Yeah.
So they sent him to this clinic, and he would call people and he would have them bring him food and shit. So he was having people come in and meet him there on visitations while he's there to lose weight, and they'd bring him KFC and other fast food and shit, and he would like either bribe him or pay him off or do whatever. And he left the first time around, and he gained weight at the weight loss clinic.
Yeah, I think Cornette was talking to him while he was there, and he was like, he would check on him like every week or so, and he's like, "Oh, brother, that's great. I lost 30 pounds, brother." And he called him a week later. He's like, "Yeah, how's it going?" He's like, "Yeah, brother, I lost another 30 pounds," and it's like he gained like 120 pounds or some shit.
JR talks about it, and JR's like, "It doesn't make any sense to me. That man came back to us 48 pounds larger than he did after being there for 3 weeks. What the fuck did he eat?"
Everything.
He gained 48 pounds. He was over 600 pounds.
Oh my god, man.
He was like, his arm's gonna fucking explode. I mean, that's sad. That's what led to him,
Yeah.
having to retire. Like they just forced him. They're like, "Sorry, we can't put you out there." Like, and to be to their credit, like I hope that WWF or WWE, I'm hoping that they felt that way too. Like, and I'm sure to a point they did. Like the guys really do care about him. Like, obviously Cornette wouldn't be just checking on him for the hell of it. But at the same time, their hands were tied. Even if they wanted him to wrestle, they couldn't because the main states they wrestle in at the time that they put a lot of their business in, you have to have these commissions. New York was one of them. You have to have a commission. Pennsylvania was one. You have to have a commission. Like, he literally can't wrestle. So they were stuck. They had the similar problem with a lot of other guys. Vader, they had that problem briefly. Although I think Vader's may have been more politically motivated. I'm not really sure. Big Show was another one they had to have these types of things a couple times. I don't know if he ever actually went to a weight loss clinic, but there were similar discussions where he had to lose weight or he couldn't wrestle either.
Yeah.
That's why his career, like when he gets to WWF, it gets kind of murky. Like there are like weird periods where he just like gone randomly, and it's because of the weight loss thing or the weight issues, because he's not allowed to wrestle in certain states. So they actually cut him and made him like sit on the sidelines and lose his weight, get healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give them their credit. They were pretty strict about that type of stuff. Vince wasn't gonna fuck around with that.
Nope.
But, yeah.
Speaking of things not fuck with, Shawn Michaels with Diesel versus Razor Ramon for the Intercontinental Championship in a ladder match. There are no rules, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
There are no rules.
And there's only one ladder.
Yeah.
I love it. That ladder is fucking MVP of this whole goddamn show.
It's back when ladders were made in America.
I thought about this. If that ladder broke, they're fucked, right? The match is over.
That ladder did break.
Well,
It did break. I'm sure at some point Vince would be like, "God damn it, find another ladder." There's probably another ladder somewhere on the premises.
Vince would have blown his quads in the ring. He would have, "God damn it, get up there, you big son of a bitch." And
by the way, that ladder is a real ladder because it's not like if you watch WWE now, it's like wood and it's like painted over and stuff. And every time they crack it open, you can tell like it's I
think that was an aluminum ladder. Like the ones you're talking about, they're made out, most modern ladders are made out of fiberglass.
Yeah,
that's what that is. Yeah, that's why it looks weird. Like,
but dude,
wood shit.
He was fucking pounding the shit at it. Like both of them were pounding the shit at each other. I was like, dude, like some of the stuff they probably maybe in AEW, but like in WWE, they wouldn't do the shit that they did now. Like one because HBK's fucking eye gets fucked up when he faces Jericho down the road, but it could do damage.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That's part of the reason why this match is so good, though, because it's like it's a ladder match. It's not a crazy over the top ladder match, but the physicality in it is like really high. The like for what, and it's not like I'm gonna fucking set you up on this ladder. I'm gonna create a ladder pyramid, and I'm gonna Canadian destroy you through the ladders, and then snap my leg because I'm a dumbass. Sorry, not sorry.
I mean, where's the lie?
Instead, it was like guys were having a fight in a match with a ladder, and they used the ladder as a weapon because it would fucking hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably did, because you can't really work with furniture that well.
Yep. And this is the first ladder match that was ever televised in WWF.
Yeah,
That's a fun fact.
Brett and Sean had one a year or two before, like in a fucking house show or some shit.
Yeah, and they've been doing, like, I think that's the thing, like, at this time, they've been doing them on circuits. That's what they do. They practice them, basically. You do house shows and you practice what it'll look like for things. So, yeah, it's the first one.
Brett said originally, because believe it or not, a ladder match actually came out of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that anybody really ever did here. And it's like Stampede would do them. And there would be kind of like that, what they did. They got a little crazier with the ladder. But Brett told Vince, he's like, I want to do this match with somebody at some point. And he told him what it was. And Vince was like, well, that sounds interesting. And he's like, can you let me run one on a house show circuit with somebody? I'll show you so you can see it. He's like, sure, pal. So, yeah, he had the ladder match with Sean, like 92 or something, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where all this came from, actually. But Brett was like, I didn't get to do it, though. They took that idea and used it for something else. He's like, oh, well.
They had bigger things going on. It's okay.
Yeah. It was fine.
Well, he sure as hell wasn't having a ladder match with Yokozuna. Dear God, nobody was that.
It's like putting Wardlow on a damn ladder. It's like, what the fuck? It was like, hey, we got to hold the ladder so we can do his finish. That's embarrassing, by the way. I'm sorry. That's
sad. I mean, that you're right though. If it's at the point where people have to like fasten everything and like everyone around can see it, then you shouldn't be doing it.
That's these guys are officials. That's biased officiating. They're helping them win.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no, I agree. It just looks really dumb.
But yeah, that's neither here nor there though.
Yeah.
Sean, I love the entrances too because it perfectly sums up like both guys' characterization. Sean goes around the ladder. He's like, no, and like he's not doing that shit. When Razor comes out, he's like, goes right underneath it. Like, man, I ain't afraid of nothing, man. Perfect.
And that ladder's like, you gonna learn today.
You're gonna learn to be afraid of me, motherfucker.
Yeah, you might win, but really nobody won. The ladder won.
We're probably going to nerd out a bit on this one too, but I'll try to be quicker. They go back forth in the beginning, reversing holds, and then Sean does like that flip over thing he does sometimes, but then Razor just says "fuck you" and choke slams him. That was awesome. And then Sean hits like a sweet neck breaker after that off of a shoot off, and then throws Razor out on the floor, and then Diesel clotheslines Razor. And then Earl Hebner's like, what are you doing? And he's like, you didn't see nothing. And then Earl Hebner's like, I didn't see nothing. Get out of here then. He's like, what? So they threw Diesel out immediately, pretty much. It's like, okay, so this is going to be more of a fair match. Let's see. They fight some more, and then Razor, like Sean's bumping his ass off during this whole match too. Like he's doing crazy bumps. The Razor pulls the padding off of the floor like he's going to do something. And then Sean, like, pokes him in the eye, like a little Adam Sandler bit there, and he retreats. And then they get to fight in the ring, and then Razor's, like, acting like he's going to Razor and add Sean out on the floor, on the concrete floor. I'm like, God damn it, is he going to murder him? That would kill him. Like. And then Sean got out and backdropped him onto the floor. So it was like, okay, whew. But let's see. Sean's getting the ladder, but then Razor stops him and then beats his ass and throws him back in the ring. And then Razor grabs the ladder. He's going to come in. And then Sean baseball slides him. This causes the ladder like hit him in the stomach. And then you hear the crowd go, oh! Like they got a big reaction because that's like that's like the fucking first time they've seen something like that.
Yeah, I know. And all I thought of was wait about like, I don't know, 25 years until
Not
like,
even that. Like, it's like, you remember, like, think about TLC, like at WrestleMania 17. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. And that's
Like,
not
what-
even like that match is iconic in itself, but that's not even the first time that specifically happens. They have a very similar match to that. What, SummerSlam, I think.
Yeah,
Before
2000. And then, think about the ladder match Edge and Christian and the Hardys have at, like, was that No Way Out in 99?
mhm.
Yeah,
Where,
exactly.
like, all the crazy shit starts there, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like 5 years later, they're going to do even crazier shit. But I love that in this match, though. All the ladder shots get, like, real big reactions. And then HBK's pummeling Razor at the ladder for, like, a while. And then he's going to make his first attempt to get the belts, but then Razor grabs his and pulls on his tights, and it's a full moon. And then Sean kicks him away and does an elbow drop off the ladder while he was pantsed. Just like I don't know why, but that was just kind of funny to me.
You saw the women stand up, by the way.
Yeah, you did.
Woo!
I saw a lady back there go like that.
Mhm.
But HBK slams Razor, and he puts the ladder in the corner like he's going to climb on it, and then he does a splash from almost the top of it, that was a big spot. And then he tries to climb for the belts again, but Razor tips the ladder, and Sean lands on the ropes and takes like a big bump, like he got hot shotted. It's cool. They do like a meet. They meet. There's a meeting of the minds. They headbutt each other by accident, and they fall down. Then let's see. More fighting with the ladder for a while. And then Razor sets up a spot where he catapults Sean into the ladder. It's cool. Razor goes to climb for the first time for the belt. And then Sean, like, he's outside because he got knocked out of the ring by the ladder. He recovers, climbs the turnbuckle, and, like, jumps off the turnbuckle and hits him, and they both collapse. Then they're both climbing the ladder, and they punch each other a couple times, and then Razor, like, just muscles him over the ladder and throws him off. And then he's gonna, like, keep going, but then, like, he kind of goes off balance when he does that. He almost fucking crashed and burned, probably broke his leg, honestly, but he got lucky. He kind of caught himself there. It looked pretty sketchy there for a second. I'm sure he was like, "Oh shit." Gets back up to climb again, but HBK recovers. He drop kicks him. He falls off on the ground, and then both guys are tired and beat up and selling. And then Sean's like, he kind of gets back up to his knees, and he sees like Razor's near the ladder, and he goes, "Ugh," and just pushes the ladder, and it falls on him because that's like kind of all he can do at that point.
This is one of my favorite spots of this match. So he just looks at him, he's like, "Fuck, all right," and he just puts what he has left into it. It's great.
And then he gets hit, and he's like, "Oh!" He fucking sells the shit out of it too. And then like they're just selling the exhaustion for being in this match. And then let's see, I think HBK shoots Razor off, ducks clothesline, and then Sean super kicks him. And then Sean's like, "It's over." And they're like, "Oh, is he going to do Razor's Edge?" No, he fucking power drives the shit out of him. And again, I went, "Oh!" because it was a good one. But Sean sets the ladder up, goes to the corner, and then he like kind of like gets on it and rides it over on top of Razor. It kind of look cool. He looks like he's dead at this point, Razor is. Sean sets up the ladder over top of him and goes to climb. But Razor gets up, and it's like he doesn't have enough strength to push him over either. So what he does is he says, "Fuck it." And he goes off of the ropes and just shoulder blocks the ladder, causing it to fall over.
Mm-hmm. That's when the ladder starts to fucking twirl and shit.
Yeah, the ladder kind of fucked up on that spot. Sean flies off, lands on the ropes, splitting his nutsack in twain on the ropes, and lands in an awkward position where he's like upside down with his leg tied up in the rope.
Oh god, I love it. He's so fucking good at that spot.
I know. It's like it just happened naturally.
It does, but it's the thing is this is not the only time he does this in his career. he has managed to figure out how to do this spot to where it looks so seamless, like it's a total accident. And then you don't know the difference on whether it is or not. I have no idea if that was an accident or not. But I've seen him do it before, so I have to think that he's just really fucking good at his job.
What's funny is he does it again right after he frees himself.
That's my point. So there you go.
He like he's trying to untie his leg while Razor's climbing, and then like by the time he gets free, it's like, oh, you think he's gonna like stop him, and like it's like he jerks and his arm gets tangled up in the ropes when he tries to get off, and he's like, no, and then Razor wins and he gets the titles and he fucking falls off the ladder.
Yeah, that was another sketchy spot where Razor just like had just enough time to get the belt off, but like the ladder was gonna give and he just fucking falls. That fall must have fucking hurt.
Oh yeah, it must have, especially because I heard at that time WWF rings were like really hard compared to like other rings.
Yeah, they're probably still pine, right? Like not very much canvas or not much padding between the canvas and the wood.
Cornette said it was more akin to a boxing ring than a wrestling ring.
Ooh.
So
I got a question. When Razor got thrown out onto the concrete, were you guys like, oh, he fucked up his elbow? His elbow's fucked.
I wasn't sure because you couldn't really see that well. It looked like he just kind of landed in a heap. He's not injured though because he works through the rest of the year, as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, because he does a Razor's Edge, I think at some point. I'm like, oh, he's fine because if his elbows was fucked, I don't think he'd be able to do that.
Probably didn't feel good, but like they have a rematch at SummerSlam. Spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
But he got a huge pop, by the way, when he grabbed the titles. That was like probably one of the biggest reactions.
Yeah,
great ladder match. Like I said before, I liked it was more about the physicality than doing stunts and tricks.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I hate that kind of thing because I do. There's a threshold with me, and nowadays people like just do really overcomplicated, crazy shit most of the time.
Spot monkey stuff that just looks bad, and if it goes wrong, you die. Yeah.
Yeah, like some people in Ring of Honor do, apparently.
Yeah. It was a wrestling match
with a ladder.
And they used the ladder to their advantage instead of just using the ladder for a spot fest.
Yeah, it's like there were spots in the match, but it wasn't like anything fucking unrealistic or fantastic, unbelievable. Like, I mean, it was fantastic. Shawn Michaels did like a big superfly splash off the top of the ladder, but like, is that like preposterous? No.
I mean, not compared to Edge spearing someone as they're holding on to the fucking title.
Yeah, that was like a life flashing before your eyes kind of thing. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's like a no car crash, no, and you can't look away. It's like, oh my god, I hope they live. Oh, they lived. It's just awesome.
Funny. That's what Edge's reaction was to it too. He's like, "Fuck it," he did it, and then when he landed, that like when he was like and just kind of like flopped over, that was like his legit reaction. It was like he almost passed out, and he's like, "I guess I lived," and he laid there for a minute.
Someday I'm gonna retire and come back again.
I hope. Oh, fuck. Well, what's funny about that was Jeff was the one that was cool with it. Edge was the one that was all fucking worried about it.
Yeah, Jeff's the one taking the actual hit like that. Ugh.
He's like, oh, it's fine, brother. It'll be all right. And Edge is like, what the fuck? Why did I come up with this?
I'll perk up after this match.
That's what I snorted Percocet before. I'd be fine.
Let's see. What else I gotta say? Oh yeah. One could argue that this match maybe is the beginning of the crazy ladder match shit that builds later.
Mm-hmm.
But Shawn did great. He bumped his ass off, and Razor was great too, with all of his selling and being the bigger, stronger baby face in the match. As far as I'm concerned, this match made both guys as stars in wrestling. This did it here.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think?
Yeah, and I agree. This officially cemented them. This is the match I think of when I watch, or I think of Razor Ramon. For me, like it's the match that I think of, and it's a great match. Again, a lot of the spots that do work so well in it are because they are very organic.
Yeah.
again, you're working with a ladder. Again, they figured out the ladder stuff for safety reasons. They realized, like, okay, we can't use an aluminum ladder. That shit'll fuck up. We gotta find things that are reinforced or made differently so that we can use them. And then you get the ones that you can pre-cut. You can do crazy stuff. Again, there's a line between what you can do versus where it's too much. But point is, it's still just a very intense wrestling match, and they're both still trying to fight and struggle, and everything you see is believable. It's really good. Shawn Michaels is just like the master of selling, like it's just brilliant. And yeah, it's a wonderful WrestleMania moment. It's again, it definitely in the conversation of like that group of like best WrestleMania matches of all time. Definitely one of the best ladder matches of all time. I mean, it honestly, if we had to like categorize ladder matches from just your standard ladder match versus like the ones that do go to that extreme version and stuff, taking those out of the equation, then you probably could argue this is the best one. And the only other one I could think of that really comes to mind that I really like more, or that I would say is on the same level at the very least, is the Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho ladder match that they had. I think
is that on SmackDown?
Yeah, I can't remember what when it was. I thought it was on a pay-per-view. I thought it was either WrestleMania or SummerSlam, but it's the one where he has the iconic thing where there's the two ladders bridged, and he has him in the walls of Jericho over the bridge of the ladder.
That was on an episode of SmackDown in 2001.
Was that seriously just on a SmackDown episode? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nuts that that's just a SmackDown episode. I could have sworn it was at least a pay-per-view. But yeah, as far as ladder matches go, that's the only one I can think of that, like, they did a lot of really cool stuff that was innovative, but they didn't necessarily go spot fest, like, I'm going to jump off and do a bunch of crazy nonsense. Like, there wasn't just, like, again, going to those levels of where the extreme TLC matches and stuff were going to, so... like it just hits a certain point and it goes just way off the deep end there, but yeah. But yeah, no, I love this match. I have it highly rated. Again, it's one of those matches from my childhood that, again, I grew up watching more WCW than I did WWF, WWE. That was just what my household like we watched. But despite that, this is one of those things that I always held on to that was like made me love this product in some way. Until I got more into it on my own independently with like Attitude Era. So I'd say for all those things, what it's worth, I gave it a 9.1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You Dubs?
I gave it a 9 out of 10. I would argue if the first match and his ladder match was not on the card, this would be a really mild WrestleMania.
Yeah, we're getting to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts about it?
No, I just enjoyed watching a wrestling match with a ladder.
Yeah, it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I give it an 8.7 out of 10. Great match. I know it's like, that's kind of low, right? No. I don't give out scores that high typically. So, like,
I mean, in scale of things, usually you consider 8 is great, right?
Yeah,
like just
great.
a general, great. 9's amazing, 10's perfect. I mean, I'm just saying in terms of like general words to use to describe it. 8.7 is a damn good score. Yeah,
it's a high 8. You know?
Yeah, 8 is like Tony the Tiger, and fucking 9 and 10 is like, ooh yeah, fucking Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, it's like it's my taste.
Yeah.
You listen to me talk about this shit long enough, you can kind of tell where my taste leans.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I don't like hardcore or like crazy stipulation matches. I found what I really get into is just like really good wrestling matches or stuff that feels like a fucking fight. I get really into that shit. But this had that in it to an extent, but I liked the opening match more.
Yes.
So that's just me.
I don't know if you noticed lately, but I've been into a technical wrestling, like Bret Hart stuff. So like
I have noticed lately.
Yeah, Bret Hart and Owen Hart, amazing match. I can't wait until we talk about 96, but I'll have my thoughts onto that.
Yeah, but we'll get there. I mean, again, we're comparing this match to the opening match that's on this card, and there are droves of people out there that will die on the hill and argue, and they have every right to do so, that the opening match of this WrestleMania is the best wrestling match of all time. And so when you're comparing it like that, it's like, okay, 8.7 is really fucking good. And I guess for your metric, you gave it what, a 9.1, 9.2? Isn't that what you gave the opening match?
Let me rewind here. I think I did.
Sorry.
9.2.
Yeah. So I mean, again, everybody's got a different set of what their scale is, so that's okay. So yeah.
On the flip side of that, I know there's a bunch of people that argue this match is better.
Oh yeah, exactly. Everyone's has their own taste for it. But if you're out there listening and you're like, Zach, he's dumping on everything that I like, and this is my entire personality, and I feel like he just took a shit on me, you go out and touch grass. Jeez.
Go touch grass, motherfucker. Jump off the ladder and land.
Go get Harlem Harbored, bitch.
The point is, Harlem Harper. We're all counting to 10 differently here. It's okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah.
After
so
that,
is a chairman. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no. We see a cool video package after that showing us highlights of Bret Hart and Yokozuna through like the last couple years. And I think originally I've seen this before on YouTube. The Bret Hart part anyway. I think this originally had a Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers song on it, making some noise instead of that generic ass shit they had. So they didn't want to pay Tom Petty's estate. I understand. But it transitioned to Yokozuna. I think this was legit because it just played this crunchy final boss metal kind of theme, and it was sick. It was just him fucking crushing people. I was like, that was cool. Burt Reynolds comes out with Kelly from Beverly Hills 90210. We were talking about that earlier.
Wait, you kind of forgot in between. Thank God we didn't get the match with Double J, IRS Man, Rick Martel, and the Head Shrinkers, because there was supposed to be like a 10-man fucking tag match that got canceled. Thank the fuck God.
It got cut for time, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their story was they all were arguing, couldn't decide who was captain, so it had to go. I think a lot of that probably had to do with the fact that the ladder match other stuff probably went longer anyway, but the ladder match itself went longer than expected, and then cleanup and stuff after just took a bit longer. I wonder if that's probably why they ended up actually cutting it.
Yeah, and they also had to add more Bill Clinton talking to Ted DiBiase about fucking there's always a price.
God damn it.
Okay,
yeah.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, after that stuff, Burt Reynolds comes out with Kelly from 90210. They say the actress's name after that. I just think it's funny they went with Kelly from 90210 primarily to identify her.
Because I don't think she's known besides for that role.
No, not yet.
Or ever.
Ever, yeah.
But Burt Reynolds is there. And he's a special guest ring announcer, and he introduces the special guest referee for this match, and it's Roddy Piper.
What the fuck happened to his hand, by the way? You notice that?
Oh yeah, he had a cast. Yeah,
like a little cast. Oh, he got in that fight with Shawn Michaels over Ronda Shear.
That's been what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Shawn lost, because Burt Reynolds
fucking shave his fucking chest.
Burt Reynolds punched him so hard he broke his hand.
Yeah. Fucking Roddy comes out to a fucking roar. People pumped as shit when he comes out, which it's also really cool too. Just like a little like historical bit. Like I watched not too long ago a Bret Hart documentary, and they talked about how like the first moment he really felt like he belonged in WWF, and like that the machine was behind him. Like they maybe he really could do more here and like get to the top. It was whenever he got put over by Roddy Piper at WrestleMania.
WrestleMania 8, yep.
Yeah, so 2 years ago he beat him in a singles match, and now it's the dividends are getting paid. He's going to be the one to hold his hand up after. It's just kind of cool.
Didn't we watch that?
We did not watch that match. I don't think it would have been 92. Yeah, we've seen other Piper matches in the periphery of that, but we haven't seen that one. I don't think.
Because that's the same WrestleMania that Ric Flair faces Macho Man, right?
Yeah, that's also the one where Hogan faces Sid.
Yeah, they had that weird thing because the Royal Rumble. Hogan was a justified heel.
Where he was
Whatever,
a
that
cheating
dumb
asshole.
shit.
Yeah, he was like, Sid threw him out and he got mad that he got beat, so he fucking cheated and pulled him over the ropes. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that was the most. It is like the most bullshit. Like
I hate that shit. By the way, I fucking hate that.
I do too, but to me, like in real life context, this is what it reminds me of. I'm not trying to get political, but it does. But I'm not taking a side. It's what it makes me think of. It's like someone that's arguing pro-life, but then that same person has an abortion, and they're like, no, but it's different for me. Like that's literally what Hogan's argument is. He's like, no, I can cheat. You don't get it. He threw me out. That wasn't supposed to happen. That's what it is. Like, what? That's not how that works. Go in the back and fucking make your weird pizza beefaroni nonsense with your vitamins and shit.
And then
Pastamania. Ugh.
And then after the show, Sid Vicious is walking to the parking lot and sees his flattened car. Hogan!
Yeah, they censor God again. Maybe if he said Muhammad or something or whatever.
Allah!
Allah! Allah!
I just want different versions of the video of him yelling different translations of God.
Yahweh! Fuck. No. But Brett comes out, but he can't even get in the ring before Yokozuna attacks him because Yokozuna is paid by the hour, I guess. I don't know.
Selling his leg, by the way.
He's still selling his leg, yeah.
Yep. Comes up with that limp.
Brett tries to fire back up, but Yokozuna hammers him down until Brett does a drop kick and hits him. And then he tries to do another one and he misses. That's when Yoko takes over again. He's fighting more dirty, though, you notice, in this match. He's like biting Brett and choking him on the ropes, and Piper's like admonishing him and he's like really aggressively trying to get him to stop cheating. Which makes sense here because Piper respects Brett. And then Cornette even tries to interfere at one point, and Piper chases him off the apron, which is pretty funny because Cornette's like, "What are you doing? Are you crazy or some shit?" Like it doesn't matter that he tried to fucking interfere. Yoko keeps hammering. What were you gonna say, Chaz?
Oh no, I was laughing. Go on.
I thought you were gonna say something. Yokozuna keeps hitting Brett, grinding him down, and Brett starts hitting punches again. He does a big headbutt that kind of knocks both guys down. And Yokozuna's Japanese, but Brett successfully headbutted a Samoan. So, this counts for something.
Technically.
Brett comes back hammering away, and it's interesting because he's just beating on Yokozuna. He's like desperately trying to knock him down, and he eventually does. He tries to pin him, but Cornette pulls Piper out of the ring, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And then Piper just like punches him in the face, and he like takes this big ass bump off of it. It's great. And Corny's out cold. Like Mr. Fuji goes over to him. I guess he's out of his Fuji water. He can't revive him. He already used his HM.
I think it's good what Cornette's doing because what he's trying to do is what, essentially Mr. Perfect did was call for the bell. And I think that's what he was trying to do with Piper is like, oh, if I fuck with him, he's probably going to ring the bell and Yoko's going to win. But fucking Piper's like, I'm not going to be like Mr. Perfect because I'm smarter.
By the way, I heard one of the best Pokemon wrestling crossover references I read it rather the other day on Reddit. So you just said he uses HM, right? So we all are knowing what that means, right? Mm. So the other day, someone was asking. It was I guess an older chat because it's not relevant now because they're broken up. But when the Firm was in AEW, they were like, "Man, I really wish they would stop doing this thing in AEW where they get factions and they take big guys." And instead of using them to like do monstrous runs, they just put them in a faction and let them be whatever. And then someone was like, "Well, every faction needs an HM slave." I was like, "That's the best thing ever." Good, but yeah, so Big Bill, he called him the HM slave of the Firm. That's all I can think of now. I just see him and I just think, "Oh yeah, he's like that fucking weird ass fucking Pokemon. I got that Gyarados in there. It's got waterfall and surf strength. I gotta have to do something. Yeah. So anyway, I thought
pretty
you
good
said
joke.
that. Yeah, I thought you said that. It reminded me of reading that. I was like, that's pretty funny.
Let's see. Yoko is choking Brett. Yoko and Piper continue having words over the course of the match. And Yoko hits the bonsai leg drop, the big fat man leg drop from him. Brett is dead. And Yoko continues beating him down. More biting, more choking. And then Yoko puts him in a corner, and he goes to the opposite corner, and he goes for like that running avalanche butt splash thing. But Brett dodges it, and Yoko just hits the turnbuckle hard and is like, oh. He does like a Peter Griffin thing for a minute.
Yeah.
And then Brett, it's like a big super bulldog from like the turnbuckle off onto him. Almost gets 3. And then Brett's like, oh shit. So he gets up and tries to do the elbow drop from the second rope, and he does some punches, and he hits a big running clothesline and actually knocks Yokozuna down. Gets 2. Brett goes for a crossbody from the second rope or something, but Yokozuna catches him and just belly to bellies him, which is a pretty cool spot. And then Yoko's like, it's over. He sets him up for the bonsai. But when Yoko gets on the second rope, his leg kind of buckles and shit, like it shakes. He loses balance and falls off. And then Brett just goes, ugh, and pins him for 3. He beats him. To contrast from earlier. It was a cool upset finish. Again, you didn't really see it coming like that, I suppose, but it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Decent match. I loved the finish because it felt like it was out of nowhere in a good way. And it protected Yokozuna because it was like he was tired and he fell.
He was thinking about KFC and he just fucking had a heart attack.
You know, when you think of KFC and your leg just shakes uncontrollably, like that's what happened to him.
Yeah, popcorn chicken.
he was getting the fucking piss shivers thinking about popcorn chicken.
He had the greasy leg.
Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, to be fair, through this night, and probably like within like an hour's time or so, Yokozuna has wrestled for 25 minutes.
That's a lot for him.
He's a big man. So this finish is cool because it's believable.
Yeah.
Like, in contrast to the modern version of this, which was whenever Roman Reigns took on Finn Balor, and Demon Balor like turned things around and was about to win, and before he does his coup de grace, the rope just like he slips and the rope gets wobbly and breaks, and he goes, oh, and he falls, and then he just gets pinned and beaten.
I fucking forgot all about. God damn, that thing sucked too.
That is the exact opposite of this one. That's the one where it went wrong. This is the one that went right. But yeah, I like this finish. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a neat finish. The match itself is just really good, especially for both these guys worked their ass off earlier already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brett had like an almost 30-minute match, and Yokozuna's like 4 of Brett, and wrestled like what was that, like a 15-ish minute match or so?
It was just sub 15. It was 14 minutes 40 seconds.
Yeah, and then this one here is like another 15 roughly.
10 minutes 38 is what they got it marked here. But
like
still,
it was longer.
It did feel a little bit longer. I think it's because of in this one there is a lot of that meat where Yoko's just beating down on him, where it's just kind of slower. There's not all that fast transitioning that was happening in the like the opening match of the night.
He wants to hurry up and eat KFC. He wants to get out of there.
Yeah, like I said, he's getting paid by the hour. So
you want that Red Lobster biscuit?
Oh, I heard he fucking fiended on some Red Lobster too.
Oh, listen, well, I don't blame him for that. God damn, I fucking, I will do some dangerous foul acts to other people and inflict pain on humans to go to Cheddar Bay. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I used to eat the Red Lobster biscuits and say I need to go to the bathroom and then fucking bounce. Yeah, I was a terrible person.
Damn.
I was a terrible person.
I always ordered a drink. I'd order a cocktail and then I would eat the biscuits and like I might get another cocktail, I might get dessert. I'm gonna wait. Let me get those biscuits and then I'd leave. I bought a drink.
You bought biscuits. Something.
Yeah, I bought something.
There's a cool full circle moment in this too because the WrestleMania 8 match you're talking about, and then Roddy's here as a special guest referee, and he helps Brett. He doesn't help him win, but like he was there when he won his title back.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like cool in that way.
Yeah, it's exactly. That's another thing that's really cool about it. There's that story that ties into it. And of course, like it becomes like the hero's welcome. Like this is what Brett should have gotten the previous year. Like, well, I'm not that he should have gotten it. He goes in as champion, you know, but like he gets to lead the show as the big hero. He's on everyone's shoulders, and all the baby faces come out, and Burt Reynolds is celebrating with him too, which and you know all this happening.
And he looks actually excited to be there.
Yeah, and then Owen comes out.
Oh yeah,
and I fucking love this. That Owen comes out and just stands there, hands on his hips, and just stares at him. And he's like, "You motherfucker! I beat you, and you still found a way to make this about you."
He says, "You one-upped me." He says,
"Yeah."
I was like, "Damn."
But it's just like it's great because he is such a convincing heel in that way that he is so determined he is right and that he's the victim in all of this.
I wish he still had his spit on his face. That would have been funny.
I don't know if he could keep it on there that long.
It's been kind of gross. It's been dried and crusted by that point. It's like, oh, and you got shit on your face. But yeah, this match is good. What did you guys give it?
I gave it a 7 out of 10. It was a good match, but the two top tier fucking matches that we saw were the first match with Owen and then the latter match. I don't think it could be up there with the 9s or 8s or 10s and stuff. So that's why I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
I gave it 6.7 out of 10.
Okay, yeah, we're in the same ballpark. I gave it a 7.2.
Yeah,
I agree. Like I think this is actually a really good match for Yoko. Like Yoko's a good worker, and you got to think of all the context and stuff we talked about, like him working so much, like this night, like 2 full matches. I thought it was good. Again, I like the story that was wrapped around it because there's so much storytelling that's going on. It's multi-layered. It is funny though because and you already mentioned this. And we'll talk about it with the review of the show. This match, the opening match, and the ladder match are really the big highlights. Everything else is just kind of here or just outright bad. And you have the other title match technically ties into this thread, but you don't really need it. It just feels like it's like a disjointed show. It's like there's really only 3 matches, and then there's a lot of filler, and it sucks because one of the filler matches is a title match.
Yeah,
it's rough, but this also is just like classic. Like anytime I go back and watch a WWF card or a WWE card, this is exactly like, especially if it's like this is like the pinnacle of that example. Like you have like your golden like prime matches that you could always reference back to, and then just you got to drift through a bunch of shit to get through the whole card because the rest of the card doesn't matter, or it's like meh. Especially Attitude Era, right? Like you were talking about going back and watching. When we watched WrestleMania, was it 14, 13? 13 is when he wrestles Brett, right? Or Brett wrestles Steve.
Oh, we haven't watched that yet.
Right. I'm saying like when we get to that point, or like later on, like those Attitude Era things. Sometimes like literally the only match that has had any build or anything that's relevant is literally just like the main event match, or like that, and plus the Undertaker match, or that, or like only 1 or 2 matches, and the rest of it is just like drizzly shit mid card that like you could see the same thing on like a Raw, and it is just really hard to get through.
Yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
It's totally true, man.
People want to act like, oh no, there's time periods where everything's awesome.
No,
that's not true. It's kind of always like this in WWE. It's from the 80s into the 90s. Because that's a note I have here is I've consistently heard that WrestleMania 10 is considered one of the best ever. But after watching it, I'm not so sure about that.
No.
It's a decent show, but like, you could make an argument it's a 2-match show with a big moment at the end of it with a decent match. Like there were 2 back-to-back matches with like really shit finishes that dragged the show down, and then there's just stuff in the middle that's just kind of like there. It's not really offensive, but it's not like good either. It's just okay.
But that's kind of I would argue though that like it probably still does stand up there near the top because again, if I just had to look at I can't think of any other WrestleMania card I'm just going to look at, and it doesn't have this exact same formula where it's like the reason why I think of it as an iconic WrestleMania is because of 2 or 3 specific matches, and the rest of the
17.
matches are well, I know we'll get there, but
17.
but like it's literally just like everything else is like blah, and I don't care about it, or it's outright bad. And the 2 matches that are on here are not just like 2 matches; like they are all timers. So I do think it's in the conversation, but I agree. 17's the best WrestleMania card, like pound for pound, top to bottom. It's so good.
There's no bad match. There's no even like boring match. It's like there's something. Everything on that show is like cool for some reason.
Yep. It's a perfect storm, which is hilarious because it actually ends on a sour note.
I'm one of those. That's like such a weird, complex topic for me because like I'm one of those people that doesn't hate that heel turn.
Oh, I don't either. I don't think it's but you can tell for like everyone there is just confused.
What the fuck? What's happening? Yeah.
Yeah. That's exciting. Yeah.
What other notes? Oh yeah, this was this is a pretty good show though, and this is like to me, this is the big watershed moment that kicks off the new generation era for real. Even though it really started like you could argue in late '92 maybe, when Brett won his first world title. Because '93, I feel like it was supposed to really lift off there, but the Hulkster came in and shoved his big nose in it, brother, and kind of fucked everything up.
That and the steroid trial, I think, just kind of lingered. I agree. Like this feels like they actually are putting a pin officially to move on to the next chapter, because right after this we go hog wild with occupational gimmicks.
Sparky Plug was there.
He was, yes.
In the baby faces.
He was.
He stood out like a turd in a punch bowl in that fucking outfit. But like, there's other, something else to note here. Many big stars that were cornerstones in this period of time for the company were established on this show, or like a little bit before, like 1, 2, 3 Kid, Razor, Shawn, Owen Hart, Yokozuna, and Bret Hart and Undertaker were kind of already established a little bit before. So I could see somebody making the argument Undertaker's was before New Generation. It's like, no, he kind of really got over in that period though, like big during that time though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really gets over as the character where people start to really root for him when they let him wrestle, and that's in the time we've covered. That's in '93.
Yep. Yeah. And that's kind of all I got to say about the show. Do you guys have any other miscellaneous thoughts about the show?
No. When I watched this WrestleMania, automatically first match, I was like, "Oh fuck yeah!"
Yep.
And then it kind of like skips a little bit. Where you're just like, because there were times I'm like, I'm going in and out. I'm like, oh, this blank match. Like, thank God it was quick. And got out of there. The Macho Man was another quick one, if you think about it, where they just pounded each other and then, wanted to get to that spot where Macho Man screws up making a knot and have him winning.
Nobody ever said I was an expert knot tire.
We got a quick little women's match to show a London Blaze. I was, surprised about that. Tag match that ended in a fuckery. Then we had the Luger and Yoko, which ended in a fuckery. Yeah. And then we had a squash match with Earthquake and Atom Bomb. And then then I got woken up again because there's a ladder match between HBK and Razor Ramon. I was like, oh shit, this is fucking iconic. And then we got the iconic ending. This WrestleMania was a Bret Hart fairy tale book where he fought his brother and lost, but overcame that and won the title.
And upstaged him again by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if this WrestleMania card were a sandwich, the sandwich would be like lukewarm corned beef that like just was over seasoned, but the cheese is like the best like cut of Swiss cheese they've ever put on it, and then the bread is the single two like best pieces of sliced rye you've ever had. No kraut.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like the beginning and end are awesome. They're amazing. They're iconic. In the middle is just very, very much so. Just I could do without this. Like you could easily like again, most of the time when I go back and watch this card, I actually watch the beginning. Then I cut and I go watch the Razor stuff. I literally just skip to the end because you don't need to watch the rest of it, which kind of sucks because like the Macho thing, it's kind of funny, but it's like
It's
but,
it too, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of filler to otherwise tell that other story, but it's done so damn well that you can't fault the whole card. Like it's hard to not still say that this is one of the better WrestleManias. I mean, it's still in my argument would be it's easily still a top 5 WrestleMania because it like you have these matches that otherwise are just so defining for WWF and their history, but yeah, like again, if you're looking match for match, it's hard to hold up because there's a lot of lows. But I don't know. I'm curious to hear what you guys gave it as a number.
Well, before I give a number, if we're using analogies with food, if I had to choose, like the meat and the cheese is kind of like the good parts of the show, and the mayo or sauce is the shit part of the show. Imagine like going to a drive-thru and be like, yeah, I want like a sandwich with the extra mayo, and then like you open up the sandwich and like the mayo is covering the whole fucking sandwich, but you're too lazy to go back and say, hey, there's too much mayo on my sandwich, can you give me a new one? You just kind of take a napkin and you fucking wipe up the sandwich. That's this WrestleMania.
You just want to wipe away that mayo, the middle mayo, and
yeah,
eat it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've pulled toppings off a cheeseburger before. I get it.
Me too.
Yeah, it happens. Fucking Wendy's fucking up and always putting shit on there when I say not to put it on. What is that shit about? Tell them like I don't want no onions. So someone hears that and says he wants extra onions. Like, do you not know what'll happen? I'm gonna get Grim Reaper farts if I eat this. Please don't do this to me.
Just gotta hide it like Lex Luger. Ah!
Ah! Yeah. 2 a.m. in my bedroom. Ah! Farting.
Could do the leaping, screaming elbow drop.
But would I give this? I would say a 7.2 out of 10 for the whole show. It's average, and those 3 matches kind of put it over into the 7 territory. If one of those matches, meaning the Owen and Brett or ladder match, wasn't there, it would probably be riding in the 6th territory.
That's very fair. Yeah.
I give it a 6.7 out of 10. He says pretty good show. Again, no, it's like, man, it's a 2-match show with a pretty good match with big moment at the end. It's kind of funny though looking back because this is an older file and I just kind of made it part of it. Right above my review of this is WrestleMania 9, and it's a damn sight better than WrestleMania 9. Not that WrestleMania 9 is like fucking bad. It's just kind of okay. Because there was some pretty decent matches and stuff on that one too. And it's kind of cool to see Caesar's Palace and shit. I'm curious as to what we're going to think about WrestleMania 11. Because I've always heard this is like the opposite of this, where it's like that's considered to be one of the worst ones. And I don't know because I didn't watch it, back in the day. I missed that one, like I missed this one. But I always hear like it has the best celebrity match in it, which is Bam Bam Bigelow and Lawrence Taylor. And I'm wondering like what the rest
celebrity match.
I'm wondering what else the rest of the card is though, because like I don't know. Like nobody talks about it really. So I'm kind of morbidly curious about what we're gonna think about that one when we get to it.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah, I'm interested to see too. I gave it a 7.5, and I think it was more just I guess where I've talked about it. I'm probably higher praise because I have just feel like two matches that in their own right are just so iconic. They really help hold it up. What is otherwise just a very middling card with some actually subpar matches. So classic WWE right there.
It is what it is.
That's right.
You want to hear the card for 11?
Yeah. Why not? I brought it up, so yeah. Let's hear it.
The Allied Powers, which is Lex Luger and the British Bulldog, versus the Blue Brothers, which is Jacob Blue and Eli Blue, with Uncle Zebekai.
What the fuck?
I have no idea who they are.
I don't know who they are either.
Razor Ramon with 123 Kid versus Jeff Jarrett with the Roadie, which is Road Dogg.
The Roadie.
Yeah. The Undertaker with Paul Bearer versus King Kong Bundy with Ted DiBiase. That might be interesting, and I don't know.
I heard that match wasn't very good.
Yeah, it's definitely not one that's well placed. King Kong Bundy is just will pass his prime.
Take a load of this fucking tag team. Owen Hart and Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette versus the Smoking Guns.
That would probably be good.
Yeah. Called Camp Cornette.
That's when Camp Cornette started right there.
Yep.
Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund in an I Quit match with Roddy Piper as special guest referee.
I don't know about that one. I'm not sure.
Diesel.
That's crazy, Backlund.
Listen to this. This is nuts.
Diesel with Pamela Anderson versus Shawn Michaels with Sid and Jenny McCarthy.
Fucking
what?
So
I know that's when like Shawn gets pissed at fucking Diesel and they break up, and then I'll get a better big ass bodyguard, and he gets Sid, which debatably he is a better big ass bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
We could have a whole debate about that, but yeah.
And if I remember correctly too, I know Diesel has a title, but we go back on the Bret and Bob Backlund. This is also when Bob Backlund won the title, then Diesel quickly squashed him to get it, and Bob Backlund went fucking nuts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting crazy Bob Backlund. I think that's important to point out.
Yeah. And Lawrence Taylor with Carl Banks, Ricky Jack, just a bunch of sports people. And versus Bam Bam Bigelow with King Kong Bundy, Ted
It's not just, we'll roll back. It's not just a bunch of sports people. Ken Norton Jr.'s there, and Steve Mongo McMichael.
What?
Is one of the enforcers.
Oh, shit.
As well as Reggie White, which is one of the legendary Packers players, his defensive end. But anyway, nevertheless, Steve Mongo McMichael's there. That's neat because I think that would technically predate when he shows up in WCW and everything, right?
It does. I think that's when he's getting a taste for wrestling. This is him like, do I want to be here? I don't know. And then he goes to Turner. He's like, hell yeah, this guy's paying me a bunch of money. I'm going to go here.
But, all right, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you completely off there. I just want to make sure to get that in there. I saw his name, Mongo Needs That Love.
Yeah. The other guys are just sports ball people.
Yeah. Bam Bam with King Kong Bundy, Ted DiBiase, Karma, IRS, Tatanka, and Nikolai Volkov with special guest referee Pat Patterson.
That sounds like a clusterfuck. We'll see.
Yeah, this is an absolute clusterfuck of a match. Although this match that, like you said, it's actually talked about like it's pretty decent for a celebrity match. And Bam Bam got like a really big payout for this match or something.
Yeah,
that was always the thing. Yeah, he got paid like $1 billion to do this match, or some absurd number was that thrown out there, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts. Good for him.
You know, it doesn't sound like it could be that bad of a show.
So,
Laid
well,
out like that. I mean, no, it doesn't for real. Because comparatively speaking to some other things, like goddamn, have you watched WrestleMania 1 or 2 lately? Holy shit,
I imagine they don't age well.
they did not. They aged like fucking milk.
Yeah,
And
I've watched a
WrestleMania
lot
2.
of WCW lately, so yeah.
Me and Dubs watched WrestleMania 1 2 like way back when we first started doing this shit, and like WrestleMania 2 fucking blows.
I can see that.
It blows chunks.
It's
Like getting fucking gasoline sushi.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So, I guess to highlight what's up next real quick, we got WCW Spring Stampede in April,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to do an episode on Monday Night Raw. I think we can tackle both of those at the same time.
Yeah. Usually Monday Night Raw is like 45 minutes anyway, and usually it's filler. Like there's a lot of squash matches.
Some good shit happens on that episode, though.
Here's a question: do we want to try to do this sooner than later? Because I know we're going to be taking a brief pause there for a few weeks at the end of the month. Do we want to try to knock these out for Thursday?
We'll see.
I'm down to. If you know, I'm fine with that to make up for us losing some weeks.
That's kind of what I was thinking, but we can play it by ear. So we'll make sure to let our audience know if we're going to actually broadcast next Thursday or not. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, remember to catch us on all podcast services. Also on YouTube on Getting Some Colors YouTube and Couch Entertainments, which by the way, I'm getting hit with copyright strikes. I'm not playing the fucking Sid Vicious thing right now because they've been hitting me with copyright lately. And they're blocking me in all Middle Eastern states for some strange countries, and Serbia.
That's because Sid was yelling God, but it was censored. They knew.
It was that bit earlier with Allah and Yahweh. And yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
We're banned.
So this is what we're going to go out on. So enjoy.
Please don't knock those together. No.
Holy shit!
Oh, Bobby, stop! Bobby, stop!
Whoa!
Do not move! Do not move!